Putting reliable weapons, for the most part, weapons. You know what I'm talking about? Talented weapons, even if it's just for a year.
Reliable when he's on the field.
When he's on the field.
Okay.
Keenan Allen, who was traded to the Bears last night. You have somebody who could be a bit of a security blanket in the slot for Caleb Williams. I like when teams do this. Don't leave the cupboard bare for these rookie quarterbacks so they come in and have no one to throw to.
I think you're thinking of Josh Allen in Buffalo and how Stephon Diggs came in and he was even more than a security blanket.
Oh, he was massive.
But I think you're thinking that a veteran wide receiver like that can buoy an entire offense. But let's look at the actual value here. They traded him for a 4th-round pick. So this is a 4th-round pick wide receiver. And he's 31. He's turning 32 next month. He is injured in his 20s. He could get on the field.
I get it.
I think you're ignoring NFL history. The fact that the Chicago Bears never get their quarterback right, there's a lot of reasons. I just don't see it working. I'm just too scarred by many, many years of Chicago quarterback play failing. I am not. They're getting Keenan Allen, and that's going to be the difference maker. Keenan Allen, I'm sorry, is over the hill. And they're like DJ Moore and Keenan Allen does not scare me as a wide receiving core, even with Caleb Williams. Whereas DJ Moore is their vertical guy. This is not scaring me in any way. I think Keenan Allen is a big injury risk, too. There's a reason he was available for a 4th-round pick. No. I mean, the Chargers need him, too. And obviously, they know him better than anyone. They're like, okay, leave.
Okay, but here's the thing. The Chargers are going through a totally different situation, right? Jim Harbaugh, they made a lot of, Bosa and Khalil Mack had to take pay cuts yesterday. Mike Williams would not take a pay cut. They're going through something different. I think you're getting the last bit of value, I think, out of this player, but you're telling me, how many times, Perloff, do we see a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback? Let's just talk about Bryce Young from last year. You're going to go into the season, and who's your top receivers? Like Adam Thielen? I mean, you're not serious there, and you're not helping your quarterback, even, beyond like an offensive line and how much that would help a rookie quarterback or any quarterback. Having some kind of talent at wide receiver. You're giving me DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. I've got DeAndre Swift, your guy from Philadelphia, Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett as tight ends. That's not a terrible offense for a rookie to come into and think, okay, I at least have bodies I can throw passes to who are going to be able to score points in this league. Is it the greatest show on turf? No, not yet. But at least do something for this guy.
It feels more to me like a late career Julio Jones going to Tennessee or wherever he went. This is later moves for wide receivers in their career never really work out. It's very, very rare that a 32-year-old wide receiver is going to be as effective. Yeah, Julio was 32 when he went to Tennessee. Okay, DeAndre Hopkins, for the most part, late in his career, has not been that effective. It's just an age where wide receivers cannot help their next team.
I know, but in fairness, you want to move on from wide receivers like when they tip 28.
30 is the magic line.
Right, and that's the number, okay. But I'm not asking him to be my wide receiver 1. I've got DJ Moore for that. I don't need him to be wide receiver 1.
DJ Moore was last year's wide receiver 1, and what did that passing offense do?
Well, that's with Justin Fields. I'm giving you Caleb Williams now, who's going to be a different type of passer than Justin Fields, or at least that's what we're expecting. So I've got a different type of quarterback who perhaps can maximize DJ Moore even more. And again, This is the positive team building. This is not the same old Bears. The Bears defense still, you can tell the commitment is there with the Montez Sweat trade that's worked out so well for them. They gave Tremaine Edmonds so much money. They just traded for Kevin Byard. I don't know how much that's going to do. They TJ Edwards. But, okay, again, not your same old Bears in terms of offense. While they are still figuring out this, quarterback situation and how to find a suitor for Justin Fields, at least keep building your team so you can try to keep pace offensively with the Packers and with the Lions, so you're not going into a gunfight with a knife.
By the time they are ready to compete with those teams, Keenan Allen's going to be retired. So it's just not going to work out here. I'm telling you right now, Chicago is not going to be able to compete with those teams this year. I totally understand your logic. Of course, Keenan Allen is a nice security blanket.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to make a big difference. I just do not see yet that Caleb Williams is going to hit it in Chicago because of this team, the way they're built organizationally. Shane Waldron is a good offensive coordinator. Was really good in Seattle.
Yeah.
But Matt Eberflus is still your head coach. Ryan Poles is still TBD. He's made a really good move with Montez Sweat, as it turned out last year, trading a second-round pick for him. I just wonder.
And getting DJ Moore.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing this move and be like, oh my gosh, they're turning the tide on years and years of offensive ineptitude. I still think this is going to be a tough haul for Caleb Williams because, listen, Keenan Allen's totally going to be 32, and the timing is not going to work out great. They need 3 years to catch up with these other teams.
That might be true. They might need some time to catch up, but this, to me, speeds up the learning curve for whatever that's going to be for Caleb Williams, because you actually are going to have competent receivers. Again, I go back to Bryce Young last year. He was dead in the water because he had nobody. I don't know if Bryce Young's ever going to be good because of the other limitations, but he had no shot because the cupboard was so bare. That's not what's happening here. I'm giving Ryan Poles A+. I like what he's doing. And I also like the fact that, at least so far, he seems to be holding on to Justin Fields because he doesn't want to just give him away for a song. He's not going to be willing to part with him for maybe a 4th or 5th round pick. Hold on. See if a market does end up developing after the draft for teams who missed out on a quarterback. By the way,
the counter argument to the Bryce Young, which I totally agree with, they screwed him with their wide receiver core. CJ Stroud, nobody thought that wide receiver core was anything at all. I mean, no one. Tank Dell was not a first-round pick. Nico Collins hadn't done anything. Robert Woods, I think, was there. He might have been there, and he didn't do anything. Actually, he didn't do much anyway. No one knew that was a good receiving core. When you have a good quarterback, all of a sudden your receiving core is good.
Right, but I think we have to stop putting C.J. Stroud and the Texans in that rookie year as what the new standard or the new norm is for the NFL. It is not the standard. It's not the norm. He's breaking records in terms of his rookie production. It was an outer space level. I mean, you can't even go rocket ship. He was in a different stratosphere when it comes to how seamlessly he was able to come into this team and look like one of the great quarterbacks in the AFC. I mean, C.J. Stroud's rookie year was an anomaly. Most rookies don't have that, even Peyton Manning, and going back to those all-time greats.
Well, I have news for you, though. That's what we want out of Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is such a superstar in college. People expect that this year.
No, I understand it. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we will get back-to-back unbelievable rookie seasons of 2 guys coming out of the draft. I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying the standard is actually you take a lot of lumps your rookie year.
Yep.
You're trying to figure things out, and then you make the big jump either year 2 or year 3.
But if you look at NFL history, back to NFL history, the wide receivers, older wide receivers on their second team, never works. It never works. Yeah. That is the rule here. And Keenan Allen, he was never the fastest guy anyway, so maybe he'll be like Tom Brady where he ages really well, but I just don't see it. I think there's a reason you only had to give up a 4th round pick for him. It's not like trading for A.J. Brown or a 1st round pick or a younger guy. I think this is just not enough with Chicago. They still, unfortunately, have a knife and a gunfight in that division. For now, I think they could build a good team. I just don't want to raise that expectation because Keenan. I think people are going to go into next season and say, "Oh, DJ Moore, Pro Bowl level wide receiver; Keenan Allen, multi-time Pro Bowler."
Right.
Man, this offense is going to be high flying, and Caleb better be like C.J. Stroud. I think my analogy. People are not going to say, "Look at Bryce Young." They're going to ignore that and say, "Oh, look at all these weapons. He better be really good instantly," and that's probably not the way it's going to go down.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You're right. C.J. Stroud coming off this big rookie year, as if the expectations for Caleb Williams couldn't get bigger. They did, because we're just watching. It's like, well, if C.J. Stroud can do it, why can't you do it? He had a new head coach. It was a defensive-minded head coach. People thought that the Houston Texans had gotten fleeced in the draft. They didn't. All these things. And it ends up working out really, really well for them. Incredible. I like this. I think you have to take these I'm not even calling baby steps. I think you have to take these important steps when you're welcoming a rookie quarterback into the facility who you have high expectations for. Don't go in and think rookie year, Caleb Williams is going to be the rising tide that lifts the boats. Eventually he is, but give him some guys who actually have seen a couple things in this league. And you're right about Keenan Allen. He's not a speed guy. This isn't Tyreek Hill. So his ability to precisely run routes and how he is thrived in the slot, that's perfect for a guy like Caleb Williams, and maybe that does age a little bit better.
Yeah, I'd have to see the splits last year. The other thing, Keenan Allen did have a big year last year, but I think a lot of that production was when Justin Herbert was still healthy. I have to assume, I could be wrong. We have to double check those numbers. LA Chargers, Justin Herbert's throwing for 5,000 yards. He's throwing for... Is it going to be the same if he doesn't have a really good quarterback? I don't know. I just worry about Chicago. It's just years of watching this offense. Can you really see them out on that field being a high-flying, like the Chargers throwing for 350 yards a game? That's just not who they are, and I don't think Eberflus would even want that. He's a defensive-minded head coach. I just think they're going to be in a division with some high-flying teams, they are not going to look completely different. I think they're going to be more of a ground-and-pound team anyway.
Well, here's the thing. If Matt Eberflus, I know he's the head coach. I get that. But he's the head coach who appears to be on the hot seat when your coordinators all get fired the year before. I mean, who do you think's next?
Well, I don't even know. Remember their defensive coordinator mysteriously disappeared in the middle of the season?
Very odd circumstances.
It's a very odd front office / coaching staff.
You're right. Where I was going with that is I don't think that he is the one. I know he's the head coach, but I think how the offense goes is probably more tightly aligned with the offensive coordinator or maybe the GM. Like, this is how we want this offense to look. And Eberflus, you kind of stay over here and do the defense, and the defense got really good in the second half of the season after the Montez Sweat trade. So you kind of stay in your lane here and do the rah-rah thing and pump everyone up, and the offense we're going to lead to Waldron.
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting question. The Bears were 8-9 last year with Justin Fields. Are they going to get worse with Caleb Williams? And if that happens, assuming that they draft Caleb Williams number 1 and they lose Justin Fields, I just think it's going to be a really interesting experiment because it seems like no one wants Justin Fields now. But there's a chance the Bears take a short-term step back by going to Caleb Williams. I think that's very realistic.
Again, and that's what we normally expect from rookie quarterbacks, except now C.J. Stroud has appeared to change the expectations for every rookie taken, in the top 5?
Yeah, but we don't normally see teams give up on a 24-year-old quarterback who is adding to the win total every year. Normally, Justin Fields would be ascending. If they didn't have that trade with Carolina where if this wasn't Caleb Williams, Justin Fields would be the quarterback there. If they had the number 2 pick, it's Justin Fields. It's such an anomaly to give up on a quarterback. I mean, that was a team on the rise. After they played really well the last quarter of the year, I think everyone would have penciled them in the playoffs with Justin Fields. They'd probably be 10-7. Now the question is, what do they have? Is Keenan Allen enough? I say no.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in, Chicago Bears. Overall, besides the Keenan Allen trade, which came in late last night, overall, I like what they're doing. And I'm also not scared off, Perloff, about having Justin Fields potentially in the building as we get closer and closer to the season. Is it going to be awkward? Maybe. Is it going to be insurmountably awkward? Is it going to be something that divides a locker room and melts it down, to a puddle? Absolutely not. As long as the Bears are very clear with their messaging inside the building, which is Caleb is the starter and Justin is the backup until we find him a better spot. And as long as they don't get off track and everyone's on the message, they can survive this.
Ooh, I don't know, because you lose some games and there's going to be some finger pointing, and they're kind of in a tough division now because the Lions have been really good. The Packers look like they're on the way up, and Minnesota has made some moves this offseason. They all of a sudden, I mean, we don't know who their quarterback's going to be, but they seem like they're not giving up. They're not doing a total rebuild. If you start to lose, you know what will happen. Then fingers will be pointed. I feel like it's a bit of a house of cards. Right now, it seems good, and they're going to draft Caleb in April, and all the feelings are going to be positive. But with Eberflus as head coach, I just worry that if they lose, they're going to maybe fire him midseason, and Caleb Williams might have some turmoil. It's not necessarily, to me, the way you want to start with a number 1 overall pick.
Now, we have a lot of show bets around here. This is something we like to do. We got plenty of things on the table. We're talking about the Bears right now, and you're welcome to call in, by the way, at 855-212-4CBS. But we do have a lot of show bets around here. We got a couple that are going to get paid off in the next couple weeks. Lots of things. I think we may have our first show bet for 2024 NFL season. Because as we say good morning to our CBS Sports Radio affiliates, as we tell you about the free Odyssey app, which is crystal clear, Sirius XM channel 158, all the ways you can watch the show and listen to it. You can watch us. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. Where our producer, EJ Stewart, has put down now in print, Bears going to the playoffs next year. Would you like to make this the first show bet of the 2024 season? Now, you guys have a draft bet.
Yes.
And Pete Bellotti is playing a big part in that. Perloff has over 4.5 quarterbacks going in the first round. EJ has under. Whoever loses has to run gassers with Pete Bellotti holding the whistle. And a clipboard. In my mind, you go full coaching.
They have a headset on?
Right. Is it plugged in?
He's got to wear coaching shorts, too. Remember those old school coaching shorts?
Yeah. You already got the windbreakers.
Yeah, he wears coaching gear all the time anyway. So
is this a role you were born to play, Pete?
Yes.
And I beg you,
but I also
spare no one. No mercy.
No mercy.
Pete's going to have revenge. I didn't understand. You played high school football or at some
I played 1 year high school football and 2 years of middle school football.
And you're going to get revenge on your former coaches by making us run.
Oh, you know what? And you know what? We'll add leg lifts in there, too.
Oh,
Pete, changing the terms of the bet. I don't know. I think that has to go to the committee.
We got to negotiate that.
Oh, no. That's the negotiation. You get me, you get leg lifts.
All of a sudden, Belichick over here.
What's actually, what is a leg lift? What are we doing here?
Is that the one where you lay on your back and you lift your legs up? It's like it's a very
core strength.
Core strength, ab strength.
Wait, is this a football thing or a Pilates class? What are we doing here?
Football thing.
Oh, it's a football thing.
It's a football thing.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so that's a bet. This sounds like the first show bet of the 2024 NFL season. EJ saying Bears are going to the playoffs next year. I will not meet you there, sir. I love what the Bears are doing, and I love Caleb Williams, but I will not meet you with Bears in the playoffs in 2024.
I mean, that receiving core, I'm shocked at how underselling I feel like we're giving to a guy who caught for 100 balls last year in 13 games. DJ Moore playing in Chicago with, at one point you had Fields was out and they had the guy who had the
Tyson Bagent,
the arm wrestling dad,
son of an arm wrestling champ,
caught for 1,300 yards last year. I think this receiving core is electric, and I think that Caleb Williams, knowing his
electric,
yes, electric. I'm not mincing words. I'm not stuttering. Standing 10 toes down, saying it with my chest off. Electric.
I saw a headline that the Patriots called about Keenan Allen, and the Chargers said 4th round pick. They're like, no, that's too rich for us. This is not Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins. This is the exact opposite.
You are saying that as if people are saying, oh, the Patriots did a smart thing. No, Patriots fans are furious because they didn't make that move.
I mean, we're talking about a 4th round pick, and we're talking about DJ Moore. To me, I'm sorry, he's not electric.
I don't care about the pick. Did you watch him against Commanders on Thursday Night Football? He had 100 touchdowns. Did you watch him during the late down the stretch against the Lions?
Yeah, Justin Fields played really well in those games.
Okay, so Justin Fields played well, and the receiver gets no credit. How you doing in Carolina when he was catching for 100,000
I was going to say,
there?
I think the better thing is all the quarterbacks who was catching passes from Carolina at the end.
He's been catching balls from terrible quarterbacks his entire career and has been a star. And you add Keenan Allen to that mix. Yes, that's one of the best receiving corps in the NFL. You add Caleb Williams, who's supposed to be this generational prospect. I see playoffs. And the defense is awesome.
To me, it's more about I want to give a little grace for a learning curve, even for someone as highly touted as Caleb Williams, even if no one else will give it to him. And I also want to respect the rest of the division. I don't think the Lions are taking a step back. I don't think the Packers are taking a step back. And let's see what happens in Minnesota. I'm not a Sam Darnold believer, but let's see what happens because they still have Justin Jefferson. They've got Jordan Addison. So I can't give them that, but I am happy to take this bet with you. 2024, will the Bears make the playoffs?
I think we could think of something because you talk about the Lions. They played the Lions twice last year. They smoked them in Chicago.
That's true.
And they were dominating them in Detroit. And it wasn't for Detroit scoring 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes because Matt Eberflus doesn't know how to handle a late game situation, which maybe is a problem if they're going to try to make the playoffs. But they beat them twice. They swept them. So I think that the Bears, they started so badly last year that I think there's this. And because they have the number 1 pick, there's this idea that this is some terrible team that is so far away.
Oh, no.
EJ,
we know,
the opposite. Of course, Carolina is the team that has number 1 pick.
No, but EJ, the opposite. I mean, everyone was sweating the Bears so hard at the end of the season. Right. That game, going into that final Green Bay Packers game, there were so many people, including one who's sitting right next to me, who thought, and that's Andrew Perloff, obviously, who thought that if the Bears beat the Packers in that final game, that Justin Fields is the quarterback moving forward and Caleb Williams never sees a Bears uniform. The people were on the Bears. They loved them.
No, I know, but I think when I jump to playoffs, I think that I don't know if there are a lot of people that would jump to that, but I'm looking at how they finished the season and the expectations going into last season. They started 0-3, and they looked so terrible in the beginning. It looked like, man, this team is still really far away. I think they're really on the cusp, and you add a receiver like Keenan Allen to DJ Moore, I think playoffs are in the picture.
You think they're going to – but you see the teams they have to knock out. We're talking Detroit, Green Bay, the Rams, who look really strong right now.
Green Bay, they just didn't – They competed with those teams.
I'm really surprised you think Detroit will take a step back. Like, Detroit's got to be a playoff team.
They might win the division, but there's 7 spots.
Should we put the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl? I mean,
well, you're talking about 3 teams out of the NFC North.
Okay, and I honestly, when I was thinking about it today, I think you'll have 3.
You could.
That means you'll knock out the Niners, because you got the Niners and the Rams in the West. You got the Eagles and the Cowboys in the East, and
one of those teams in the East ain't making the playoffs this year, and it ain't the Cowboys.
Oh, well, that's now you're just talking crazy talk. Now,
How is it crazy?
I think the Eagles have probably the best offseason anywhere. I want in. Maggie, can I join your bet here, Maggie?
This one's on the Bears. EJ thinks they're a playoff team 2024. I'm not going to go that far, but I love what they're doing. I don't want to mistake that. I think Ryan Poles deserves A's here. I think he has handled this really well since going back to last year and how he manipulated the draft there and what he did in finding a sucker bet, basically, with the Carolina Panthers. He's always able to find that person in the room. I think who he gets one up over, and I think he's done a good job.
Wait. That was some Ryan Poles master move. That was, he probably got a call from Carolina saying, hey, do you want this pick?
Maybe. Yeah, Carolina.
They had Justin
they'll find
Fields.
their own pothole.
They were sitting at number 1, and they had Justin Fields. I'm sorry, that was not like Danny Ainge ripping off an NBA team. I cannot go there.
So we have D-Funk is in the chat. EJ is delusional. Also, it was this Spencer Seek said EJ will have to reveal his middle name as part of the bet.
That's the whole thing, in the chat.
This is your side convo?
Yeah, because they want to know what my middle name is, because EJ, Elijah is my first name, which a lot of people know.
Yeah.
But they want to know my middle name, and I've kind of kept it a secret.
Is that right?
Made them try to guess for now months, and nobody has picked it up yet.
I thought EJ was because there's a J in Elijah, and it was sort of shortening the word.
A lot of people think that, too. People either think it's Elijah, but just like I just shrunk it to EJ, or people think that I'm a junior, and it's neither.
We know
of those
that
things.
because we know your dad's not named Elijah.
But when you hear someone say Elijah to you, I'm like, oh, EJ's in trouble. He just got called Elijah. I assume your mom called you that.
No, I always say that. Like whenever my parents call me Elijah, it's either I'm in trouble or they want something. So it's never good. It's never good for me.
So J is the beginning of the middle name?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're gonna have to think too. 855-212-4CBS. Bears making the playoffs 2024. Is that on the table? And how do you feel about the move for Keenan Allen? Does this make them one of the most electric wide receiver cores in the NFL? 855-212-4CBS. Lots to do, including another trade last night that went down, or yesterday afternoon, for a quarterback. What does this mean for the dominoes and the chess pieces on the board for the quarterback carousel? We get into that next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Maggie, I've been in this business a long time, and nothing is more reliable and more consistent than the media overhyping March moves in the NFL and them not working out. And I think that Keenan Allen, a 32-year-old wide receiver, falls into that category. I'm not buying it as a game changer for the Chicago Bears. Yes, is it better to have Keenan Allen on the field than not? But you know that older receivers switching teams never works.
But what am I asking for here, right? I'm asking for a guy who is a great slot receiver to help and be a security blanket for a rookie quarterback. I already have a number one. I've got DJ Moore, so I don't need him to be a number one guy. I need him to be, when he's on the field, be reliable as possible and hopefully be on the field for an entire 16 games. So that's what I'm hoping for.
But I think you're not being realistic in the sense that you add a big name like Keenan Allen, who's a bit of star in the NFL. I think you're raising expectations for this team. You just painted a very realistic picture of what you could expect from him. That's not what NFL fans are going to do. People in Chicago are saying, we got DJ Moore, we got Keenan Allen, let's go. It's all here. And I think that's what I would warn against, because it just doesn't work that way. It feels that way in the spring. And then come week 8, we're going to be like, oh man, they're paying a lot for Keenan Allen. I just think that is a more likely scenario.
Let's go to the phones.
Way,
yes,
real
CJ.
quickly, though, when we say receivers older, trading teams don't work, I don't know. Jerry Rice went to the Raiders. That was pretty good. Terrell Owens went to the Cowboys. That's pretty good.
Terrell Owens was a little younger.
Randy Moss going to the Patriots. That was pretty good, too.
How old were they, though? Randy Moss
They all were, I think, were north of 30.
Do you realize the three names you just said? And by the way, you should have said Larry Fitzgerald, too. Do you realize the names you just said? That is you just named the 4 greatest wide receivers, including one of the greatest football.
You said older receivers
do not work. And you pulled out Jerry Rice.
Right, but you said none of them work. So what is that? Like, you can't say none. You can't say we all know older receivers never work out. And I named 3 guys. That's like saying. First of all, Jerry Rice and Randy Moss were left for dead. You can't talk about those guys as if we thought they were going to be great.
That's like saying for different reasons, though. Randy Moss for different reasons.
That's like saying my shooting guard's turning 30. He's going to be. He's got 9 more years because LeBron is awesome. Like, you can't compare people to Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and Terrell Owens.
But then you can't make the example. And I'm sure there are plenty I can think of as well beyond those guys. But those guys came immediately to mind because you said that older receivers can't work when they change teams. And I'm saying, well, I don't know, three of the greatest went to other teams and were great.
Right. No, I think Randy's stock was down for a lot of reasons in Oakland, right? Because it wasn't just that he wasn't productive, but also because he was a malcontent.
Right. But he was awful in Oakland. that last year in Oakland. I mean, but my thing is, Keenan Allen was way more productive than Randy Moss or Jerry Rice were in their last stops where they were before they went to their new teams.
Yeah. Let's get to
They were.
Brian, who's in Harrisburg. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Maggie?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm at work right now, so I'm doing the same
Same.
thing you guys are doing.
We're at work, too. It just doesn't feel like work.
Right. I was just calling because I've seen you guys talking about this Keenan Allen trade.
Yeah.
As a Packers fan, I was like, they're trying hard. You know what I mean? I thought it was cute, honestly.
Yeah.
Cute move by the Bears. Oh, boy.
Yeah, old man Allen's not going to get the job done, and I honestly do not think that they're going to make the playoffs. Not with Allen. It's not going to work.
You know, Brian,
Not gonna work.
for your Packers, and thank you for the phone call, and, whenever you get off work, get home safe. They're in a different spot. The Packers are in a different spot. You have Jordan Love, who's now a year 5 quarterback, right? Am I right about that? This be year 4 or 5?
Sorry to tell me, he sat for. Did he sit for 3 years or 2 years?
Who you talking about?
Jordan Love.
Love is he's entering year 5.
Year 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you got a year 5 quarterback. That's a veteran in this league, basically. Yet they are one of the youngest teams, and they're on the ascent after the big win over the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Year 4. This is year 4.
Year 4.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. 5 seemed a little high, but you have a different type of expectation. The Bears are trying to get themselves,
Well, it's
rookie
funny,
quarterback and try to establish themselves in the division.
which is ironic because if Justin Fields is there, they're clearly playoffs or bust. Because they were 8-9. You just look at the trajectory, and that actually makes me nervous how they say that because I'm so certain they're not going to make the playoffs. But if Justin Fields was there, the way they were playing last year, they clearly were headed that direction. So, I mean, Caleb Williams is probably better than him. So maybe I'll take that bet because I would. Isn't it funny? Justin Fields, they were pretty good at the end of the last year.
Yeah.
Because he can play conservative football. He can run. He's probably the second most electric runner in the league right now behind Lamar Jackson. So you could play conservative football. See, Caleb is going to be a great NFL quarterback, but he's got to throw for 4,500 yards. That's his style. They got to open it up and fling it all over the place. And I know Keenan Allen's a very good guy, but this just does not feel like the electric offense that I want to see here.
Let's put it on the poll at Maggie and Pearl on Twitter if we can. Bears a playoff team 2024. We say good morning to Andrew Bogish, who's here. I'm going to be honest, Bogish, you never cease to surprise me.
You're welcome.
I didn't take you for a novelty t-shirt kind of guy.
Yeah. I mean, St. Patrick's Day. It's St. Patrick's weekend.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure Perloff's not going to own this shirt as well. So
You guys won't show up as twins?
Yeah.
No, Perloff will get down with some kind of interesting borderline costume. You're wearing a Lucky Charms shirt.
Yeah, I mean,
it's dope.
I said that to you this morning, that it's Lucky Charms. And he said, no, it's just a St. Patrick's Day.
Well-
Those are the Lucky Charms
Yeah.
marshmallows.
It's
Clearly.
not from Lucky Charms. The company that I bought it from for St. Patrick's Day, I think, calls it Lucky Charm or whatever is not a trademark infringement. And it does have the,
Oh, I see.
But it's got yeah, I mean it's yes,
it's
this,
Lucky Charms.
But it's not from Lucky Charms. It's a St. Patrick's Day shirt because it has Lucky Charms on it. If that
So
makes
it's not
sense.
Lucky Charms. It's like Fortunate Omens.
So you're saying
Right.
it's not official merch from General Mills?
Correct.
Okay,
Where they're
got it.
avoiding copyright laws by changing a couple of the marshmallows a little bit. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah.
I don't think they did.
And I
Those
don't-
are all the
I
same
can't
ones.
remember.
I got horseshoes, hearts, stars,
Clovers.
clovers, and the rainbow. Are those all the Lucky
I'm
Charms?
starving now. Can we got to get the breakfast order together, and now oddly I want Lucky Charms.
I don't think they have that.
I'm
we're
not
gonna
sure
do
I've
that.
memorized what the Lucky Charms are.
They used to say it in the commercial. You know what? Again, bravo.
Magically delicious.
Thank you. Look at Bogish coming in on a Friday, fun guy
we
wearing the
go.
novelty shirt.
I pulled it up. That is the exact Lucky Charms. Every one of them.
Yeah?
That's it.
I mean, so the company
Yeah.
is Tipsy Elves.
Well, we're going to
Sure
sue.
they're-
Oh, yeah. They're very. They maybe they got the rights though. They get it. They're
It's
pretty
possible.
good. They're a big company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought like a Star Wars Christmas sweater from them, so they could have the rights.
YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. You get fun Bogish on a Friday.
You're welcome. The other 4 days, not so lucky. The Bears trading for Keenan Allen, not the only wide receiver moving the NFL yesterday. The Bills replacing Gabe Davis with Curtis Samuel, 3 years, $15 million guaranteed for him. Buffalo GM Brandon Beane helped draft Samuel in Carolina. Bills OC Joe Brady was a Panthers assistant with Samuel back in 2020. And the Chiefs are bringing in the now well-traveled Hollywood Brown. Dallas police confirming they are looking into sexual assault allegations against Dak Prescott. The alleged victim filed a complaint Wednesday for an incident that may have happened back in 2017. The complaint also came after Prescott filed a lawsuit saying he was being extorted for $100 million. There is a separate police investigation for that. Let's check on the bubble now. Number 24, Dayton, losing in the A-10 quarters to Duquesne last night, 65-57. The Flyers appear to be a lock for the big dance, so them losing means the A-10 champ's going to steal a bid from somebody else. So all the bubble teams need to do extra work if possible this week. A trip to the Big East semis is good news for Providence. The Friars taking down 8th-ranked Creighton last night, 78-73 at MSG. Providence head coach Kim English.
We talked about if you're not prepared in this league or focused, it's like a cannonball going through your chest. If you're not tough in this league, don't even field the team. So we're tough. We've been tough. You have to be tough to play in this conference.
Providence Marquette follows UConn St. John's tonight at the Garden. Now, because the Big East is playing there, the Knicks played in Portland last night.
6:35 to go in the fourth. Knicks lead by 15. Brunson backs out beyond the three-point line. A deep three, right side, 40 points. Now for Jalen Brunson.
Pat O'Keefe on Knicks radio. Brunson finishing with 45 in a 105-93 decision over the Blazers.
Hey, wait, sorry. Did you see the Jalen Brunson clip that's going around with him on Jimmy Fallon? Is that new or is that old?
No, that was a couple weeks ago. That was during All-Star.
Which clip?
The one where he talks about meeting Michael Jordan and his dad, Rick Brunson, was still playing in the league, and he goes to meet Michael Jordan when his dad was playing against the Wizards. So this is late Jordan. And apparently he had this thing where he would always buy the opposing team's jersey, like not his dad's jersey, but whatever arena he was in. So he had a Michael Jordan Wizards jersey. He goes and meets Michael Jordan, and Mike says, "Would you like me to sign it?" And young Jalen Brunson goes, "No, thanks, it will mess up the jersey."
Oh, no. That's funny.
I get it. At his age, you want to wear your jersey.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh my
now, he probably should have known better. Someone should have told him. But as a kid, I see nothing wrong with this.
He said that the locker room, basically, everyone around him just melted into laughs, and he was just clowned to the end of time. Because to have a pristine Michael Jordan Wizards jersey does absolutely nothing for you. Having a signed Michael Jordan Wizards jersey, now you're in business.
Michael could have given him some advice, though. Maybe throw a pass once a game.
Yeah, Michael didn't do that.
Jalen, oh my God. What is his usage rate? 120%, EJ?
Ridiculous today. You're ridiculous today.
45 points, 4 assists, and you're a point guard? What are you doing?
His team won the game.
Guys,
against the Blazers.
Over the Blazers.
Right, his team needed him to score. Again, they're missing Julius Randle. He's
Nothing
got to
good.
score.
Listen, Andrew Bogusch is wearing a Lucky Charms t-shirt today. I will not have fighting about the Knicks. There is no way. It does not match.
That's totally ridiculous.
This is a Lucky Charms kind of day. It's not a Jalen Brunson kind
Guy
of
scores
day.
40 points, and it's like, we should have passed the ball more.
On 30 shots.
Do they have to reinforce the floor from all the times that Jalen Brunson dribbles? Like, do they have to have extra?
Do they have to reinforce the floor every time Joel Embiid hits the ground so he doesn't fall through the earth?
They bring in special engineers in Philadelphia to deal with Joel Embiid falling. It's like a timber.
You should send him to your Whirlpool guy.
Oh, your doctor.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. But I'm a Pistons fan, so this is not relevant to me. But you're right.
Yes, the shady doctor that we found out Perloff went to not once, not twice, not 3 times, 8 times until he got a rash from the
Pistons definitely
Whirlpool.
went to that doctor.
One more quick story about my knee. Yesterday, I saw my MRI, or 2 days ago, my MRI with the doctor, and I made him explain Joel Embiid's meniscus to me. I'm like, okay, I understand what's going on with me. Explain Joel Embiid. And he actually sat there for 5 minutes and said, this little part of his knee is torn. So he has 3 weeks. So anyway.
He's like, when he's in the first round, the knee is great. Then he gets to the second round of the playoffs, and the knee totally
Yeah,
falls
and
apart.
by the way, a very busy New York doctor was not thrilled to hear me asking about it. He's like, I have other patients. I'm like, yeah, but this is important. not so much.
Jaylen Brown scored 37 last night. Celtics beat the Suns 127-112. They're the first team to clinch a playoff spot this season. The Thunder outscored the Mavs 126-119. Luka did not play thanks to a sore hamstring, and the Bucks down the Sixers 114-105 behind Giannis's 32. Dr. Neil Elitrosh has reportedly confirmed that Garrett Cole does not have a torn UCL, does not need Tommy John surgery at this moment. The Yankee ace still expected to miss 1 to 2 months, but nothing official from the team yet. The 10 FBS commissioners and Notre Dame expected to sign some paperwork today about the future of the CFP will be a step closer to expansion to 14 teams in 2026. And revenue sharing will be locked in with the Big Ten and SEC getting $21 million per school per year, $8 million more than ACC schools and $9 million more than the Irish. On ice, the Lightning erased 2-0 and 3-2 holes, beat the Rangers 6-3. Braden Point had 3 goals and 3 assists. Nikita Kucherov had 1 and 4. And the Indian Wells tennis tournament is one of the biggest non-majors on the calendar, but maybe you hadn't heard about it until yesterday when play was halted for an odd reason.
I wonder if there's something on the bottom of that bird cam that...
Bee invasion. So please have patience. Thank you.
Play suspended due to bee invasion. Wow. Some things you thought you'd never hear.
Yeah, that's from Tennis Channel. And this is quarterfinal action. Carlos Alcaraz, Alexander Zverev. Alcaraz starts swatting away bees. One camera that they mentioned is the whole lens is covered by bees. And now, like, the Indian Wells beekeeper guy is famous.
Hero.
For fixing all of this, because they went back to playing eventually.
He's actually a beekeeper who came out?
I think he's just the maintenance guy, but like he must specialize. It's like an orthopedic surgeon. Like he'll do elbows, knees, and ankles.
And bees,
but
apparently.
Yeah, but he really specializes in bees. He's been excellent.
Did he come out in a beekeeper mask and all that?
No, he was just straight up bear. He raw dogged with a bunch of bees.
I don't know what you were watching, Maggie, but he's got a shirt on in the videos I saw. I don't know what OnlyFans account you're subscribing to.
I'm just saying, he went out there without any protection.
Did he walk out with a bee beard? Have you ever seen those guys?
He used to go on David Letterman all the time. The beard of bees guy.
His name is Lance Davis. He's from Killer Bee Live Removal. And he's out there.
He is the bee guy.
Sunglasses, long hair, long sleeve white T-shirt, and he just had a vacuum and he was sucking up bees.
He's the dude.
Yeah.
Good for him. We've seen this before a couple times in baseball where like all of a sudden they'll suspend play for bees. Yeah, that's freaky. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm allergic to bees. I carried an EpiPen as a kid. Very consistent. Very consistent.
That squares actually.
I mean, it had double purpose with my asthma too.
Yeah. We're getting that full, complete picture.
By the way, can I translate one of those headlines? When they say Garrett Cole's out for 1 or 2 months, that means we'll see him again in 2027. I mean, that is the most ominous sounding. He doesn't need Tommy John yet. Oh God.
No, this has he comes back, makes 3 starts, and then and all of a sudden feeling the discomfort yet again.
Yep. That part of the body's so scary for baseball players.
And he hasn't missed a game for injury since like 2016. And Maggie's 100% right. This is slow build up, comes back. The only question is how many starts he gets in before the elbow hurts again. And they're like, never mind, you need surgery.
Yeah.
The one I hate the most is when they actually ramp up for like rehab starts, and it's like, oh, his rehab start in AA was cut short.
They don't even make it back to the majors.
And you're like, oh God,
like,
couldn't even get to the majors.
Yeah, it's like stunning news out of Altoona today.
Yeah. You never hear about baseball in these minor league cities until a starting pitcher gets hurt there.
It's like we've got bad news out of Reno. It's like, no,
Scranton and Wilkes-Barre and Shaw.
Bogus, thank you. Lots to do. That was a lot of news we just packed in there. We also have some questions about a would-be contender in the NFL. Where are the right expectations for this amazing Pro Bowl quarterback and also brand new head coach? We'll get to that next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff. Okay, so yesterday a lot of news came down to the NFL. One of them is that Keenan Allen got traded to the Bears. And Perloff, we've talked about this from the Bears' point of view. You and I disagree. You think this is not a needle mover, game changer for Chicago. No. I like this move. I think this is exactly what a team should do around a young quarterback. So that's from the Chicago side of it, and you're welcome to weigh in at 855-212-4CBS. But let's talk about the Chargers side of this. So yesterday, the Chargers traded away Keenan Allen. We know earlier in the week they had already cut Mike Williams, so it was expensive and also very injury-prone, despite being talented. And we also got news that both Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack both agreed to not just restructure, but according to NFL Network, pay cuts.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, the fact that Bosa took a $7 million pay cut, Khalil Mack took a $4.5 basically $1 million pay cut to stay here in LA. And I think the expectations for the Chargers, because of Herbert and because of Jim Harbaugh, are still extremely high, even though this was a team that was in salary cap hell.
Yeah, I disagree with that a little bit. I just, based on the odds, I think the public is not expecting that much because they knew they had to rebuild it. Even Bosa and Mack coming back, Mack is old and Bosa's injury prone, and they've had those guys. And what have they done? I mean,
because Brandon Staley was not and should not have been the head coach, and he's a defensive guy, and he still wasn't good.
That's not why, though. It's because the Chargers players are never out on the field. That's why they have not won consistently. So the interesting thing to me is that they let Keenan Allen go. They let Mike Williams go, although there's a report Mike Williams might resign there for less. So he's rebuilding Michigan. Jim Harbaugh, he has this great offensive line in Los Angeles when they're healthy, which is rare. And he brought Gus Edwards in from Baltimore, the running back, big bruising running back. I think he's saying, you know what? We're not going to throw the ball all over the place. We're going to be like a Jim Harbaugh team, which I find it curious because don't you need Justin Herbert to take advantage of that salary and that arm and have him be a high-volume passer?
Yeah, that's why I think Malik Neighbors is probably going to the Chargers or Roma Dunze. Or I don't think Marvin Harrison's going to be on the board, but you have the 5th overall pick. I think that screams wide receiver. So you've got Quentin Johnston. I don't know what he's going to be, but Quentin Johnston with Joshua Palmer, and then you hope you're adding a Ferrari with whoever that next wide receiver is. I think there's still an option here. This has got to be a high-flying offense because of Herbert. You can't J.J. McCarthy this thing. That'd be a waste of our talent.
What if they pick Joe Alt, the tackle, and put him at right tackle out of Notre Dame, and then you have bookend superstar tackles and a right? I don't think it's a given that this is going to be a high. I think Jim Harbaugh is kind of conservative by nature. I think he's going to build a Harbaugh team, not a high-flying West Coast kind. I know they're in L.A. I think he wants toughness.
Okay, but why go to the Chargers if you're not going to try to maximize Herbert from day one? Because that's the thing about Jim Harbaugh. Let's not forget. The reason why I have high expectations is because he's known as a guy who comes in and turns things around right away. I mean, it took maybe a little bit longer at Michigan, but you know what I mean. What he did with the 49ers, that's what we're going back to, and he immediately turned around their fortunes.
So, let's see. 2 seasons ago, our guy, Justin Herbert, threw for 4,800 yards. The year before that, 5,000 yards. I don't expect numbers like that at all. I think they come down closer to 4,000 yards. Jim Harbaugh doesn't want to be high-flying. Think of the Colin Kaepernick San Francisco teams. They were big running teams as well. I don't think he's going to spread it out. I think he's going to be tough, be conservative.
That would be so utterly disappointing. You realize.
I'll bet you right now that Justin Herbert is nowhere near his career highs under Harbaugh. And I think it's good. No, winning is all that matters. Justin Herbert he put up a 5,000-yard season. Who cares? At this point, he wants to get to the Super Bowl.
I'm not
That's
talking
all
about
that really
the
matters
yardage total. I could really care less about that. But if this is not in some ways a vertical offense, what are you doing?
No, this is going to be a running offense.
I can't imagine that. Again,
it's going to be a tough, conservative. The running offense will help Justin Herbert too.
But why not maximize your best player? His deep ball is amazing.
Because maximizing it means winning football games, getting to the Super Bowl. You can still. Troy Aikman had a great deep ball, and he never threw the ball.
Well, that was also a different era.
Harbaugh's bringing it back.
855-212-4CBS. You're welcome to weigh in on Jim Harbaugh, the Chargers, making some changes coming up. Aaron Rodgers, back in the news.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's been on the TB12 method since he was 6. She's on her 3rd scotch. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Well, it's been a wild 48 hours for Aaron Rodgers, and that's saying something. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So glad to have you. Perloff, this started as a very ridiculous story, come from the New York Times, that Aaron Rodgers, along with Jesse the Body Ventura, was on a short list to become the vice presidential nominee for Robert Kennedy Jr., who's running as a third-party candidate. Okay, so that was kind of fun, and we all poke fun at this, and, oh, Rodgers, you know, could he actually play quarterback and run for vice president and all of that? We did parody videos of his political ads, and we all had a good time. Then we had this interesting kind of out of nowhere report that perhaps he, you know, is a very big conspiracy theorist. We know this about Aaron Rodgers, that perhaps he had played into the Sandy Hook conspiracy theory, which, you know, for many people, I think is a bridge way too far.
Yeah, it's crossing the line.
Yeah, there's just, you know, you want to have fun with the, or whatever, with the moon landing or whatever, and we talk about these things, but, you know, Sandy Hook, 9/11, you know, these are the kinds of things that, you know, are incredibly hurtful to people and still very raw for a lot of people, so it's a bridge too far. Now, Rodgers did come out yesterday and said this on social media. As I'm on the record saying in the past, what happened in Sandy Hook was an absolute tragedy. I am not and have never been of the opinion that the events did not take place. Again, I hope that we learn from this and other tragedies to identify the signs that will allow us to prevent unnecessary loss of life. My thoughts and prayers continue to remain with the families affected, along with the entire Sandy Hook community. Heart emoji. I was surprised at this tenor and tone from the denial, because the Aaron Rodgers we know would have done what? Take out the media. I've never said this. The media's out to get me. You know, Rodgers took a very different tone here, and one that I think de-escalated this to the point where I think we can move past it.
Well, yeah, I think Sandy Hook in particular, that topic, I think even Rodgers, like, you can't be defiant to the media on that one. And actually, I did see a couple videos yesterday. He spoke out a lot in 2012 on the tragedy, so he does have some receipts in that sense. Now, I think he's a much different person in 2024.
Fair.
So I don't know, but you're right. So you think that this was a measured response by him, which implies
keeping it on the table that he might keep this run for vice presidency intact. Like, again, it sounds so ridiculous when it comes out of my mouth, but how he handled this to me implies that, yes, why you would ever double down when these poor people suffered this awful tragedy. I don't know why you would ever do that, but Rodgers can be defiant, especially when it comes to the media. This to me is so, like, it's almost so PR savvy. To me, I think it keeps the possibility that he would run as vice president. I think it keeps it alive.
Yeah, I also think they're probably, and I don't know if he would listen to them, but I think in a normal situation like this, a team would call him and say, "You better issue a statement."
Oh, the Jets?
The Jets
aren't saying anything.
Yeah, well, a normal team situation would say, "Hey, you better squash this." And even Aaron Rodgers has an agent. I mean, listen, he's not so out there. Even the agents like this, you know, he's got a post-playing. The guy wanted to host Jeopardy. You can't have that on your resume. So I understand your logic, and it does make sense that he's trying to keep a vice presidential run alive. But I still think even if his goal is to be Aaron Rodgers, football analyst, you can't have this on your record.
And what's the interesting thing is I think Rodgers being a conspiracy theorist is part of the reason that RFK Jr. has been attracted to him, or why they've been attracted to each other, because RFK Jr. is a conspiracy theorist too. And Rodgers will go out there on the ones that he really believes. And he's not afraid to put it all out there. And again, I think this is part of the appeal in a weird way. It's dangerous. I'm not about it, but I do think that they are kindred spirits in this way, not just vaccine stuff. I think that it's about conspiracy theories. And so anyway, all that to say this, I think it's still on the table.
Yeah.
Now, could he actually do this and still play quarterback for the New York Jets? I mean, where are we with this story? The fact of the matter is, even with the Sandy Hook denial, he is still not denied that he is contemplating this run for vice presidency. We don't have that denial at all. Now, you think it's coming. I'm not so sure.
I'm so sure. I'm looking at how much money he's going to make in 2024 as a quarterback. Maybe I'm reading this wrong.
50. Take that out. Take the money out.
But
Guys,
no, but it's actually
$million.
way more than that, because it affects his bonus money too. I think he's getting more than 50. There's no way he's going to play football $50 million.
You think it's about the money right now for Rodgers? I will 100% staunchly disagree with you on that.
I totally disagree with it. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I don't think anyone's turning out $50 million for a losing vice presidential run.
No, he's made $300 million just from the football. That's not counting the State Farm and all the other things he had.
That's actually like, average two guard in the NBA money. 300 is all you got for me? $50 million, that's 20% of 300.
You can't spend it in a lifetime. No, that's what I'm saying.
It's not. No, I think that money means something to him. And also, too, I think he still wants to play football, obviously. So I think he likes having this out there. I agree with you on that. I think it adds to maybe a future political run or just his mystique or just he likes attention. All that's true. At the end of the day, I'm sure he's going to say, I'm flattered, but I want to focus on football. Just like this press release he issued yesterday, we're going to get the same press release. I'm flattered by this run, but I want to focus on football. I'm so certain that's what he's going to do.
Okay.
And this is a precursor to the next press release.
So here's a question, and that might be true. When do you think this is coming? Because if you wanted to say I'm flattered, but I'm going to just be the quarterback for the New York Jets, that could have been said at any time this week.
Could it have been? So you're telling me he's going to mid-ayahuasca trip in Costa Rica say that?
Well, somehow he got this, very coherent, cogent Sandy Hook defense out, unless he had nothing to do with it and it was just a PR team.
But that's out. You said he can issue a statement, but he's not going to say it because he's on vacation.
Okay, but where's the statement?
No, I think he likes the VP stuff hanging out there.
I know, and that's what makes Jets fans specifically incensed, because you like this and you're doing it for your own personal reasons when you've called out the whole team for causing distractions.
Jets fans, grow up. You know you want him on the field.
Well, that's fine because they're desperate and they definitely want him. Yeah. But again, he's making people twist in the wind simply for a stunt. If you don't think this is ever true, he's keeping Jets fans twisting in the wind on this.
I don't think it's just a stunt. I think there's a lot of benefits to being on a vice presidential ticket. You're setting yourself up for who knows what. You could be a future political candidate. You could be on boards. You could be a businessman. I think it's not just a stunt. I think he does like this. I think it's very important to him. But I do think at the end of the day, he's going to deny it and go back on the football field.
Okay, but think about what you said. This is all just good for him.
Yeah.
All about him. When he's out there preaching team, we've all got to do this at the team, and everyone else fall in line with the Jets, including people in the front office, whoever's leaking stories to reporters. You guys all fall in line, but I can be out here trying to set myself up for a future political career or future business career when, quite frankly, he's the last person who actually needs the publicity. Yeah. I mean, he's already more famous than basically anybody in the NFL outside of Tom Brady. And Taylor and Travis Kelce, I guess, at this point. He's being, if he is indeed doing this just for his own gain, I mean, it is beyond selfish.
Have you been paying attention to Aaron Rodgers? Of course.
But he loses credibility. You're saying he gains it.
No. Nobody thinks that he has not been about Aaron Rodgers. You know why he wanted to host Sports Jeopardy, or Jeopardy rather?
Yeah.
Because he wants to be the smartest person in the room, and there's nobody smarter than Alex Trebek. He wants to have all the answers.
The answers, right.
He wants to be the guy who knows it all. And being on a vice presidential ticket, although he's not going to be, just being floated out there as a potential vice presidential candidate makes him the smartest person in the room. So he loves that. That doesn't mean, listen, this ship has sailed about him being a team first, normal guy in a locker room. He's not 25-year-old Aaron Rodgers taking over for Brett Favre. That's long gone. If I'm a Jets fan, all I want is a healthy Rodgers. I don't care if he's running for vice president. I don't even care if he's out on the campaign trail. If that guy can stay healthy, the bar for what you expect out of quarterback play on the New York Jets is so low that he can easily pass it. I don't even care if he's actually vice president. If he's in the White House, he could still be way better than Zach Wilson was last year.
Imagine you're one potential, God forbid, a bullet, a heart attack, whatever. You're one event away from being the most powerful person in the free world.
Yeah.
But you've got to put that aside because you got a big Thursday night game against the Browns coming up. Like, this just doesn't. It's crazy, and I still think the door's open. I know as wild as that says, I think he's leaving the door open, and I don't know. Rodgers is a weird guy.
Donald Trump lived in New York when he was in the president, so why can't Aaron Rodgers do that? I think, what does a vice president do? This is easy. In fact, I think he's more focused as vice president if he wins. If the Rodgers RFK Jr. ticket wins, I still think, even if he, the key right now for Jets fans is get that dude healthy and on the field. Forget the vice president stuff. Forget the ayahuasca.
He's not forgetting it.
Don't listen to him on Pat McAfee. None of that matters. You just need to get him healthy and playing football, and everything will be fine.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Yes, Jets fans. I don't. If he wanted to deny this, and if he wanted to say thanks but no thanks to RFK, he would have done it already. And the fact that I don't care if he's on vacation. The PR team was the crisis team came together to put something to a tweet about Sandy Hook, which they had to do, by the way. He could also just the same deny this thing, and he's not doing it.
Yeah. Well, the idea that there's no consequences for him potentially being a vice presidential candidate and trying to still play football, I just is ludicrous to me.
What consequence do you want?
Team building not happening, distractions continuing, which he says is a problem. Not. We all know it is already because it's the Jets, but he is saying it's a problem. Distractions continuing, gaining more chemistry with your teammates, all those things. If you come on the campaign trail during training camp, campaign trail during weeks of the season. And the other thing I'll say as well is this idea that, well, Jets fans, you have bad quarterback play, so just shut up and take Aaron Rodgers being a complete lunatic. No, he said Super Bowl. He said the Lombardi Trophy is lonely at one Jets drive, whatever it's called. Okay? He says that. I can't expect my quarterback who says that we're going to win a Super Bowl or that's the goal to also be saying, well, I want to be a vice president and I can do those things, both of those things. It is ridiculous.
I think he's got new goals now. And the Lombardi Trophy line was always dumb. That was always a dumb line. He should have never said it.
It was so dumb. I ignored it. I'm a Jets fan, and my thing last year was like, hey, I just want to make the playoffs. We haven't been any good. Like the Super Bowl, there's a lot of great teams in the AFC. But you can't be the guy saying all this stuff, being Mr. Team guy and Mr. We're going to have this ultimate goal, winning a championship, and then be flirting with the vice presidency. And even if you're saying, okay, well, he wants to do it for himself for 20 years from now, well, get off my team. I don't care what you want to do 20 years from now. What does that do for me? What does that do for Garrett Wilson? What does that do for Sauce Gardner? That does nothing for them. Him saying that I want to be a political candidate and if I get my name out there, I'll be good in 10 years when I want to run. That does nothing for those guys in the locker room. And yes, that causes problems.
Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah, but so do you want him to leave? Or would you cut him? You would cut him.
I've said that on the show. Get him out.
So who starts at quarterback week 1?
Go get Justin Fields. Go get Justin Fields.
Ooh. Justin Fields with Nathaniel Hackett is a disaster.
Well, no, I would have fired Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, well, he's got to go.
I can't. Unfortunately, I'm not Woody Johnson. I don't have billions to own the team. But
so
go get Justin Fields.
You're getting to second step. Now you also have to fire Nathaniel Hackett. Are you firing Saleh? What are you? So if you get rid of Rodgers,
I would have fired Saleh. So this whole Jet thing, you're asking questions. I'm like, well, look, I would have fired Robert Saleh after last season. Because he's shown now for 3-4 years he's not a good coach.
He's not a good coach.
I would have fired Nathaniel Hackett midseason because he showed he couldn't call plays. And I would have got rid of Aaron Rodgers, so I have no problem getting rid of Hackett because Aaron Rodgers has shown that he's now an injury risk and that he's not serious about football.
Well, if he comes back and they win football games next year, you can't be on board.
No, that is ridiculous. I mean,
you're saying get rid of him now. You can't turn around and say, oh, he's awesome if he is, which seems unlikely now. They go 12-5 with Aaron Rodgers.
It's my
team.
You
have to at least admit you were wrong then.
Of course I'm. That's the one thing about me. I will never not admit that I was wrong about Aaron Rodgers. And what's unfortunate is I was wrong about Aaron Rodgers. Because last year I said, you know what? Aaron Rodgers is showing a different side of himself. He seems to be all about the team. He got hurt. I said, you know what? That's unfortunate. But hopefully he'll still be around the team and be a good leader. And he wasn't. I was wrong about him last year. And I'm telling you now. That's why I'm saying I saw what I saw last year. Get him out.
EJ, when are you going to give up on the Jets? You know when people are drowning and you hear at the very end a calm peace comes over you?
Don't do it, Perloff.
That's your football fandom, dude. You get to the peace. Just stop fighting. Stop fighting.
Not everyone's a bandwagoner.
No, come on. Yeah, but not everybody's a Jets fan. I mean, this is the worst franchise over the last 20 years. Come on, give up, dude. You're taking this way too seriously. Of course Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are a joke.
Well, they won 7 games last year.
This is a bad franchise, historically.
Oh, well, the franchise, of course, they always find a way to be the story. Whether they're relevant football-wise or irrelevant football-wise, they always find a way to be the story in the center of attention, or weird headlines and stuff like that. This is just the latest. I mean, this one really could be on the Mount Rushmore of weird Jet stuff. The fact that you bring in...
It's a crowded mountain right there.
I'm telling you, it's a high bar. But I think the Jets may have just cleared it. The future Hall of Fame quarterback you brought in to be the mercenary, get you to the Super Bowl, is now contemplating a run for a vice presidency of a third-party candidate who's a little screws loose.
Yeah.
And they're both screws loose.
Man, I'd like to see that Mount Rushmore of weird Jet stories. Does Rex's foot thing make that Mount Rushmore?
I think it might.
I don't even know if it does.
I think the head coach not denying, we're talking about denials, not denying that he has a foot fetish and in fact leaning into it probably makes the Mount Rushmore.
I feel like this should be a task for maybe the great people out next to me for maybe next segment or sometime in the show to have a Jets Mount Rushmore.
Only the off the field stuff that's the circus.
Oh, wait, butt fumble is on the field
for sure.
Well, butt fumble's on the field.
I think
that happens.
I think it could be. I think it could be on the field too.
Okay. Well, the butt fumble also.
Butt fumbles happened once in NFL history.
It was a butt fumble that also resulted in a pick six.
I will say, I think Adam Gase's introductory press conference is on that list.
See, I don't love that one because he can't help how his eyes look. That's mean.
But it led to a disaster.
Well,
I mean,
he was
a
disaster.
total joke.
How about Peyton Manning putting the call in for Adam Gase, and then he ends up becoming one of the worst coaches in the history of a franchise, which is saying something because you had Rich Kotite, and it's the second time that Peyton Manning screwed you over.
If we're really going to do this, we're going to need a bigger boat, people. I mean, this is going to take all day.
More rocks.
More rocks, more mountains.
Yeah. Can we get to a different Dakota?
I think Aaron Rodgers running for vice president is borderline. Him being vice president would definitely make the Mount Rushmore.
He actually has to get in the White House.
Yeah, I think he has to get in the White House to beat out the other guys on the team.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones here. Want to weigh in on some of these things. Let's just take a quick one. Chris is in Oregon. We were talking about the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, not to completely take a left turn. We were talking about the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh and the expectations for them to win right away. Chris, good morning. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh coached at Stanford and used Andrew Luck out of his mind. He went to the 49ers where he really didn't have a top-tier quarterback. He really didn't have that at Michigan. So to think that he's not going to use a top-tier quarterback is, I think that's just out of line. I mean,
No, he just doesn't. He's not going to have the pass. I'm not saying he's not going to be good, Chris, but he's not going to have the pass attempts. He likes a more run-heavy offense.
Well, that's not how it worked at Stanford with Andrew Luck.
Did Luck have huge numbers at Stanford? I would double-check that. I could be wrong.
Come on, man. He's an All-American 2 years in a row, and he was projected, even in his junior year, to be the first pick overall, and he came back for his senior year. Luck was out of his mind. The bowl game Andrew Luck played in, he picked his opponents apart, man. That was the whole game, Andrew Luck winning that bowl game. So, yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh knows how to use a quarterback. Jim Harbaugh was a quarterback. I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Well, Chris,
it'll be a shame. I'll tell you what. It'll be a shame because that's what happened to the Ducks quarterback. Come on, at the Chargers.
Justin Herbert.
Oregon.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he didn't get used at Oregon.
They threw bubble screens every play.
Well, that's the thing, Chris. I think that Jim Harbaugh only wants to – I think he wants to team up with Herbert because of Herbert's ability to be explosive as a passer.
Yeah, but I mean, J.J. McCarthy was 1 or 2 or 3. He was supposed to be the superstar quarterback, and he kind of always kept the handcuffs on him.
Well –
yeah, we'll see.
I know.
I don't know, man.
No, I think
thank you.
It'll be in stream, sure.
Appreciate it. Good call.
Justin Herbert's going to be. This is going to get Justin Herbert to the Super Bowl. This is the best thing that ever happened to him. Just don't expect him to be flinging it all over the field. That is not Jim Harbaugh. He is a tough. He wants a physical team. That's all he talks about. And I think it's going to be great, but it's not going to be spread. It's not going to be all over the place at all.
It might not be. I'm trying to think. Wasn't Michael Crabtree was a 1,000-yard receiver with Kaepernick still, though, wasn't
Well,
he?
I saw Kaepernick and Alex Smith in the years that they threw for about 3,300 yards. They were definitely in the bottom half of the league in passing yards. I mean,
and honestly, the league has changed in the last 10 years.
Yeah, but Harbaugh obviously hasn't. I mean, college football has changed 20 times more. It's the most vertical, wide-open passing game ever, and he's like, I'm going to hand the ball off almost every play.
Gary's in Jacksonville. Hey, Gare.
Good morning, Maggie. Andrew, how are you?
We're doing great. What's on your mind this morning?
A couple of things. Don't you know, Maggie, in Aaron's little world, everyone's allowed to be a distraction but him.
Of course. Rodgers can,
Different rules. Yeah.
And the other things, guys, what about what my Dolphins have done in free agency? You look at Jordan Poyer and add Kendall Fuller to that secondary to go with Devon Holland and Jalen Ramsey. You look at Jordan Brooks. Shaq Barrett. They added a center. They got a tight end that can get you 700-800 yards. Considering, guys, they were underwater cap-wise going in. The job that Chris Greer has done. I know they lost Chris Wilkins, but they're not going to pay Hunt $20 million a year. He's not worth $20 million a year as a guard. They utilized the money that they would have had to pay Chris Wilkins. And look at what they added, guys, to that team.
No, I get it. It's Gary, thank you for the phone call. You hate to lose Wilkins. Did you see his press conference with the Raiders, by the way?
No,
we'll get to
I
that
didn't.
later. That guy's nuts.
I just feel like the Dolphins were injured last year, and Jordan Poyer, I mean, for example, I think they had to bargain shop on defense, and I worry, are they going to be able to stay healthy at the end of the day?
The big question, are they actually going to hand Tua the contract?
Yeah.
Do they make the long-term commitment? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, we continue. Hey, Grainers. Perloff hitting you with it against the grain this morning. We've got that. Coming up later in the show, Rex Chapman is going to join us, has written an unbelievable book, and obviously former Kentucky grade and played in the NBA for nearly a decade, a social media star as well. And then later on in the show, the one and only Ian Eagle, who will be calling the Final Four and the national championship game this year on the men's side, taking over for Jim Nantz. He will join us later in the show as well. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Okay, we interrupt the regularly scheduled program to bring you the Mount Rushmore of Jets embarrassments. We will get back to sports in just a moment, but Pete Bellotti has come up with his Mount Rushmore of Jets controversies / embarrassments on the heels of Aaron Rodgers. Well, everything.
Well, yes. 2 honorable mentions. We'll go to the John Isdick GM reign, which was 2 years, where all his draft picks were gone by 2020. And Adam Gase, his whole tenure, including his press conference. Those are 2 honorable mentions.
Wait, didn't John Idzik have 13 draft picks one year and select all 13 of them?
Yes.
But
That's not how you work the draft,
to
dude.
defend Idzik, is he any worse than the other GMs that are you're probably going to list right now?
You can't pick a player that he selected that impacted the organization.
No one
in
got a second
positive way.
contract.
Right.
No one got a second contract.
You can't unless you're the next GM or Mick Agnew. But anyway, go ahead.
So let's go. We'll start with Aaron Rodgers as a VP.
Yeah.
This is something that the Jets needed to handle right when it came out, and they didn't. So they let it sit,
Shocker.
and now this is where it is. It's all awkward. We'll go to the Rex Ryan foot fetish. I'm glad he has his likes and dislikes, but I didn't need to hear about it, and the way that we did. Also, the Bill Belichick one day as head coach, that was completely botched.
That was good.
From all parties.
Yep.
And it should have been a thing where Belichick should have taken a job from the beginning.
I think that cursed you guys, by the way, if you not to
agree.
jump in. It feels like everything since then has been wild.
Well, we all know, and the reason was because the ownership change was there, and we didn't know who the GM was going to be. The owner was going to be. That's why.
To
he
be
didn't
fair,
take
you
it.
were picking between Woody Johnson and James Dolan. So
Right.
Congrats.
I think he thought
the lesser of two evil.
I think he thought it was going to be the latter too. So, and finally, 1983's NFL draft.
Yeah.
That's
all
not
those
fair.
quarterbacks on the board.
That's not fair.
including one, Dan Marino, sitting right there for the Jets to take, and they take Ken O'Brien, who was good, but not Dan Marino.
It's a good Mount Rushmore. Can we also add quickly to the Rex Ryan foot fetish that he has a tattoo of his wife wearing nothing but a Mark Sanchez jersey?
I was trying to avoid that.
That's something he got in permanent ink on his body. And we do a lot of show bets around here, so I'm assuming he lost one.
Did he end up changing the color of the jersey when he went to the Bills? I feel like I remember that.
I think he made it a Bills jersey.
He made it a blue jersey, so it looked kind of like a Bills jersey.
Yeah, that didn't help either.
I would just say Ken O'Brien making 2 Pro Bowls. Maybe keep that one off there. A lot of people miss
no.
Marino.
Dan Marino's a Hall of Famer. It is not coming off that list.
But he didn't do much against the Jets in his career, did he?
Don't bring up the fake spike. Also, the Belichick cursing the Jets is probably good because he won 6 Super Bowls too. So it's not just he wasn't coaching the team and he won 6 Super Bowls in the place he went.
Yeah. It was, yeah,
good.
I feel like that's one of the most famous napkins in sports.
It is. Tim Tebow coming in. Bringing him in for nothing.
Well, you had the Geno Smith getting punched out.
Oh, Geno getting punched in the face. That didn't make it?
No.
Wow.
No. Did not make it. It could have made it.
Over $500.
Yeah.
Like I said, we could have another rock that has
we could do
another Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, right.
I know we have a bracket challenge, and probably wouldn't do a Jets bracket challenge for national radio, but you could do a Jets bracket challenge of just ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson dating his mom's friend and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Getting called out by his ex-girlfriend. Oh, it's so good. Bogus is here. Top of the morning to you. With your Lucky Charm shirt.
The only thing that took longer than diagnosing Garrett Cole's right elbow injury in baseball was IDing Shohei Ohtani's wife, but we now have that answer as well. The Dodgers star recently married Mamiko Tanaka. A picture of the couple as the Dodgers left for South Korea was posted yesterday, allowing many people to figure out who she is. Ohtani had called her a, quote, normal Japanese woman when he announced their marriage. And maybe that's true in general, but she's also 5'11" and plays for the Japanese national basketball team. And she's a shooter like Steph Curry, knocking down threes, going back to play D before the ball's through the rim because she knew it was going in. That's not normal.
Wow. Did she have the mouthpiece that she also is chewing on?
Didn't notice that.
Wait, no, first of all, this is amazing. She's an athlete is not that shocking, right? Athletes finding each other for love. But I can't imagine the amount of hot water you'd be in. Never describe your wife as just a normal woman.
Well, yeah.
Don't do that, guys. Like, I guess Shohei gets away with it. I don't know if the customs are different in Japan, but if you are like, oh, what's your life like? She's a typical American woman. Yeah. Like, that's not gonna fly. Yeah. She could have been anyone. Honestly, and I don't even know. And if she leaves, it'll just be someone else. Yeah, right. Just mother of my children. Well, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Cindy over
roommate. Here. So wait, do you... in an interpersonal basis, when I compliment my wife over the top, it's ridiculous. You know, she's the most gorgeous, smartest.
Yeah, keep saying it. Just keep saying it.
So
too hot for us.
As a wife, you buy all that stuff?
Just keep lying to me.
Oh, you'd rather be lied to.
Just tell me. My husband tells that stuff all the time. It's amazing. You know, I'm so lucky. Just keep it coming, guys.
What if he said you're in the 85 percentile of women's looks?
I looked you up.
Do you have to be 100?
Scanned your face and other assets you have, and you're around, I don't know, 70th percentile.
The other day, I complimented Gisele Bunchkin, and my wife says, "Oh, so that's your type." I'm like, "What? It's Gisele Bunchkin. She was the most beautiful woman." Yeah,
you're my type.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, so I was very confused.
There are certain celebrities that, like, I'm not going far as hall pass, but there aren't certain celebrities in your relationships where you're like, oh yeah, I get it. Because for my girlfriend, it's like she loved Channing Tatum. I'm like, yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, but the women are allowed to say that. We're not allowed to say that.
No, but she knows how much I love Anne Hathaway, and she's like, yeah, Anne Hathaway is awesome.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway is.
Did you just eek?
Are you actually serious, Perloff?
Anne Hathaway.
You didn't have to throw her an elbow, but
I'm a huge Anne Hathaway fan. But that's your one celebrity crush.
Anne Hathaway's awesome.
Huh. I know, EJ. Listen, you're have your taste and your people.
Anne Hathaway.
No,
she's a great actress.
No, I don't think people. She's not like
Sydney Sweeney,
a model.
Kate Upton.
She's an actor. She's not a model. So that's
no, I know, but I'm saying, but Channing Tatum's not a model. He's an actor.
Anne Hathaway could probably model. She's very pretty, but it's just an unusual crush in the year 2024. I
was 11 when Princess Diaries came out. I mean, it makes sense.
I'm amazed you can get away with that though, because my wife openly told me she'd leave me for the star of the new show Shogun on FX. She's like,
that guy is that show, by the way.
I heard it's awesome. It's unbelievable. It's a movie, but she's like, yeah, I mean, I have a crush on him, and I'm like, yeah, of course you do. I can't say that even about Giselle. What about that? Is your husband allowed to say this actress?
We don't talk about it very much, but I mean, I know he's got good eyesight, and I know I'm not,
he's not blind.
Yes, I'm not married to a blind man, so I understand that he would have this. We don't actually talk about that stuff.
What if he said, "Hey, let's all stay up and watch the Sydney Sweeney SNL show," and he hasn't wanted to watch SNL in 7 years? Would that cause a problem?
No, I showed him the photo. I was like, "Look at this." He's like, "I wonder why she has to feel like she has to put him out there like that." Like, my husband is more of a feminist than I am.
Oh, yeah, to you. To you.
Yes, I'm not checking his text thread.
On the side, he's like, bro, did you see Sydney Sweeney?
No, the best is like, I'm like, did you see this? And I'll be like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Very good acting skills.
Yeah, what was that? There was a meme out where somebody was interviewing her. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel, and she's basically just throwing it out there and he's trying to look her in the eye. That is every male shout. Okay, so this is good to know. This is good information.
Pete wants to know exactly the date and a YouTube link. So, if you wouldn't mind just sending it over.
Your advice to all men is keep lying.
Just keep, yes, hopefully it's not a lie. It's not that much of a stretch. But, yes, keep telling your wife how lucky you are, how beautiful she is. And also, how how lucky you are and how beautiful she is and what a great person / mother that usually, if that applies. So
you have to say you're more beautiful than Giselle, you're a better person than Mother Teresa, and you're smarter than Stephen Hawking. That's the expectation in my house.
Yeah. I see no problems there. Just don't say she looks like Stephen
I
Hawking.
said you're better looking than Stephen Hawking.
You're not as good of a person as Giselle. Get him straight.
Yeah.
Using Mother Teresa and Stephen Hawking in your pillow talk might be why you're having those elbow issues.
Yes, that's not going to be. And then
I don't know.
Get me in the mood.
Yeah.
Women have told me Stephen Hawking's kind of sexy and no, it'd be smart. No.
Brains.
Stephen Hawking, by the way, have you ever seen the movie about him? He dated beautiful women, just so we're clear about that.
Yeah.
With Eddie Redmayne.
I'm telling you.
Trying to save myself here.
People are attracted to brains.
Yeah.
Women.
Smart people do very well. Albert Einstein probably slayed.
I'm sure.
He's just fighting them off.
Where do you think he got E equals MC squared? Between the sheets. Energy equals mass times friction. Why do you think his hair looked like that? Why do you think his hair looked like that? He was always climbing out of bed. He's Albert Einstein.
That was bedhead. For another reason, he's just afternoon delight and just roll out of bed. I thought it was because all the electricity in his love life is making his hair stand up.
If you're out at a bar and Albert Einstein shows up, you're telling me there's not some girl there who's like, this is going to make a great story. I'm going home with that dude.
That's why I asked you guys yesterday about the Notre Dame mascot.
Yeah.
Like, is that guy getting chicks? And it's just because for the story.
It is a great story.
But do you have to does he have to go out in the costume, or does he walk around in normal clothes? And you're like, hey, that's Todd, the mascot.
Got to be in the costume, right?
Got to be the costume.
Yeah.
And the costume's got to be a part of the situation. Yeah. You got to defile the costume.
And you need your roommate to say, did you sleep with a leprechaun last night?
No, it didn't happen unless you have a selfie of yourself wearing the hat.
Yeah.
It's called trophies, guys. Receipts, trophies, whatever.
Yeah, you have to verify that guy's a real redhead, right? I don't know. What?
That hole's about 7 feet now.
You guys hear about the Bears made a trade last night, getting Caleb Williams some kind of help, sending a 4th-round pick to the Chargers for Keenan Allen.
Really?
The 31-year-old receiver wouldn't take a pay cut with a $12 million cap hit plus a $5 million roster bonus due someday.
Wow.
He just caught a career-high 108 passes for 1,200 yards and 7 scores. New Texans running back Joe Mixon gets a 3-year extension, $13 million guaranteed, and the Packers are re-signing running back A.J. Dillon. Good thing none of us are the Sixers or their fans because the collapse continued last night.
Dame Lillard the other way. He's at the top of the circle. He's matched up by Harris. Dribbling between his legs with 10 to shoot. He'll send it off to Lopez. Fires away from 3, and he splashes it down. Brook Lopez. Another splashdown for Splash Mountain. He's got 5 big threes tonight.
That's Dave Kane on Bucks Radio. Philly, a 114-105 loss in Milwaukee. They are now 7th in the East in the play-in, a half game behind the Pacers. The Celtics clinching their playoff spot, the first team to do so with a 127-112 home win over the Suns. Jaylen Brown scored 37, 26 for Jason Tatum, 31 for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the Thunder's 126-119 home win over the Mavs. Men's college hoops, Pitt keeping itself very much in the bubble conversation with an 81-69 win over Wake Forest. The Panthers reaching the ACC semis for the first time since 2014. DePaul hiring former Ohio State head coach Chris Holtmann for that same position a month after the Buckeyes fired him. Fired yesterday were OK State's Mike Boynton and Vandy's Jerry Stackhouse. And on ice, Austin Matthews hit the speed limit last night in Philly.
Matthews will drop it back for Riley, who finds Labushkin, who gets it ahead. Labushkin was filled in, and now Matthews works in with a shot and scores! Austin Matthews is back!
That's Joe Bowen on Leafs Radio. Goal number 55 from Matthews in a 6-2 victory over the Flyers. He is the first Leaf with 2 55-goal campaigns. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. I'm told someone has some trivia for us.
Ooh.
We're going to get to that in just a moment. 855-2124-CBS. Do not move. Maggie and Perloff. Also, Perloff going against the grain in just moments. We do all of that for you. Hang tight. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
This is Maggie Gray with a CBS Sports Minute.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Against the grain.
Okay. Everyone's talking about Caleb Williams. They got Keenan Allen in Chicago. I assume he'll go number 1 to Chicago. But we have a new favorite to be number 2, and that is Jayden Daniels out of LSU. Has surpassed Drake May in the Vegas odds for number 2. I'll tell you right now, if I can bet on this, I'm betting Jayden Daniels, not Caleb Williams, wins Rookie of the Year.
Oh.
First of all, this is pretty obvious. The starting argument is Caleb Williams going to the Bears. No Bears quarterbacks are good. That's a fact that is immutable. Has never changed since Sid Gilman or Sid Luckman or one of the Sids. They have not had a good quarterback. So we'll take Caleb out. So now really Jayden's competing with Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix might be really good. But Jayden Daniels, first of all, is awesome. I think people forget about how good he was last year already. I'm hearing, maybe he's too skinny. You know what? It didn't stop him in college, and he took massive hits all the time, including one that you thought would have ended his season when Alabama's Dallas Turner almost took his head off. So he's tough. I think he's going to play a full schedule, and he's really a dual threat. Like, there is nothing about him that he's a great passer, and he is ridiculous when he runs. He's so fast. He's hard to tackle. Reminds me a lot of Randall Cunningham back with the Eagles because he's got these long strides. He's also in a good spot here. Washington's had a good, despite what you guys say, a good offseason. They made a lot of smart signings. The new GM, Adam Peters, really good. He's thrown to Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Jamison Crowder. They signed Zach Ertz, a little old. Austin Eckler, the new running back, to me is perfect for a rookie quarterback. That means yards. That dude will give a quarterback just 50 yards off the bat by doing nothing. So he's going to have great stats in Washington. They have a relatively easy schedule. I don't know if they win a ton of games, but I think he's going to be a little bit like C.J. Stroud, last year's number 2 pick, in that he'll have good stats. I don't think the team's going to be as good as Houston is, and their schedule's not that easy. Houston's schedule was insane last year. So I think Jayden Daniels is perfectly set up to be a star and Rookie of the Year. And I think he's also a great quarterback. So that's my main reason that I think he'll win Rookie of the Year. But the setup is also perfect, much better than Caleb Williams' setup.
It's you're making me think here. Jayden Daniels as the Rookie of the Year over Caleb Williams. That's Perloff's Against the Grain for today. I guess here's my question. Defensive head coach, how conservative are they maybe going to be?
I mean, Cliff is not conservative.
Cliff.
That dude can not do a lot of things as a head coach, but he has been a good play caller at times. He can spread it out perfectly for this kind of quarterback. Feels like this is a perfect match for Cliff Kingsbury, even more so than Kyler Murray in Arizona, because Jayden Daniels, you look at his numbers at LSU, he would throw for 200 yards and run for 200 yards in a half.
Yeah.
I mean, he can do it all. So I think that this is just ideal.
Those hits are going to be a lot more punishing in the NFL.
Yes.
Because he is actually kind of skinny. He's not Bryce Young, but he's skinny.
I was there. We all said the same thing about Lamar Jackson, saying there's no way that will translate to the NFL because
he got hurt a lot.
Yeah, but he was pretty successful off the bat. I mean, he sat his first year, most of the year. But I don't think he's been hurt that much. We thought he was too skinny to do all that in the NFL, and that's not been the case.
I know, but up until this last season, the last 3 years before that, he had missed time all at the end of the year.
He'd already won an MVP.
I get that, but
that's what I'm not saying that
issues.
I'm not saying Jayden Daniels will have 8 years of sustained non-injury success. I think he could put up a huge season. And also, I like Washington. I can't believe I'm saying this. I like kind of everything they've done. They're not going to win 12 games now, but I think that Josh Harris, a new owner, probably, I know he did the interviews and you hate that, Maggie.
Yeah.
But Adam Peters has been able to make a lot of moves here, and they're all low, kind of smaller names like Frankie Louvu, a linebacker. Guys like that
Bringing
nobody
Bobby
really
Wagner
knows.
and Clellan Farrell.
It's not even those guys. It's like Nick Allegretti, left guard. They have a lot of guys that you don't know their names who seem like quality players. I really like it. I think Jayden Daniels is going to hit it immediately.
All right, that's Perloff's Against Agree, Disagree, 855-212-4CBS. I'm still going to go with Caleb Williams is going to get Rookie of the Year.
I like, by the way, Penix if he's with the Raiders. Let's go. Devontae Adams. That's another strong competition.
Let's go to our pal. Big Friendly is in California. Hey, Big Friendly.
Hey, good morning, Maggie Malone, Perloff, 411, The Body, EJ the EP. Forgive me, I'm a little under the weather. So.
I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you'll feel better soon.
Yeah, it's just a viral thing going around Northern California. But I had a question. Since you guys are great sports minds, I had a college question for you guys.
It's a trivia question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
University of Cal State Long Beach. What do they different from than every college team in college sports besides championship? They're the only team that has this. What are they different than
which team? You said Long Beach?
Long Beach State.
What are they?
What makes them different than every other team in college sports?
Yes, and they're the only team in sports that have this.
Gosh, I don't even have the slightest idea. I'm thinking something mascot
I
oriented.
was like,
there you go. You're on you're getting warmer.
Who?
Oh, is it some kind of a marine animal?
Oh, is it a live animal near a basketball court?
No. Go back to the mascot. The different in mascots.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Long Beach State is known as the Long Beach State 49ers. Every single team besides the baseball team, they're the Long Beach Dirtbags.
Wait, they're the Dirtbags and then they're the 49ers. They're both.
Yeah, so their volleyball team, their basketball team.
I have heard of the Dirtbags, actually. I have heard about that.
Yeah.
The baseball team, right?
Yes, ma'am. The Giambi brothers. They're the last team to take us to the World Series.
Yeah, I do remember the Dirtbags. I do remember that. But I didn't know about the 49ers, too. It's not bad trivia, Big Friendly. Thank you so much. And
now, Maggie,
yes.
Before you cut me off real quick. Maggie, I've given you guys a poem. And Perloff, I got your rap. I'm just getting over this bad thing. But Maggie, I've given you the big game update. I have it. I'm just getting over this.
Listen, you take your time. You take your time. We want you healthy first and foremost. That's always the number one thing, Friendly. And then when you're good and ready, give us a call back. You know our number.
I know, but real quick, Maggie, real quick. I got to give you this real quick. I've given you a rap. I've given you a poem. I've given you a riddle. I've given dating advice. There's not an onion out there with more layers than Big Friendly. Okay? You guys have a great day, and thank you for the time.
Big Friendly, you're the best. To be fair, the dating advice was a picnic in a van, which I don't think every man can pull off. That is a hard one. I'm going to tell you. Big Friendly might have he's got some extra riz. It's the charisma that he has. For most men, I would not suggest taking a woman out to a date in a picnic lunch in your van.
No.
Don't do that. But Big Friendly can get away with it because he's got some je ne sais quoi.
Okay, so Long Beach State is the Dirtbags. There's anteaters out there too, right? Who's the anteaters? Santa Barbara. Irvine.
The banana slugs.
I saw last night Long Beach State played Riverside, which are the Highlanders. What the heck are these names? What? These are not California things.
I love it. Let's go to Kai, who's in Boise. Hey, Kai.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How are you? Good morning.
Pretty good. What's on your mind?
Cool. Yeah, good job on Big John. What's his name? Big Friendly.
Yeah,
good on him.
He's the best.
But I've been a part of the jungle since '98. Big Romy fan.
Gotcha.
So you guys were always followed, and you guys do an amazing job right off the gate. As far as everything else, I've been following you since M&J and McLovin, DP show. Big ups.
Awesome.
But my main question for you guys was, as far as Giselle, I would have to follow Big Family and say Maggie's just her charisma and her whole attitude persona is what makes females more beautiful, if you know what I mean. And following that, the Sacramento Kings stomped on, my mom was in NorCal, so I follow them regularly. I want to see what your guys' input is on the Kings coming through and getting up into, a top 8 to 6. Anyways, other than that, you guys rock.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the compliments. Many people tell me that it's my charisma that separates me from Giselle. Yes. If I hear that one more time today.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's the reigning Fortnite champion. She's a Call of Duty legend. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Oh, Maggie, I'm so excited. Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. You know, there are many, many perks to working on the Dan Patrick Show for so many years because Dan can pick cool people to have as friends. You know, Adam Sandler.
He's got good taste.
Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, all sorts of coaches and athletes. And I remember about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even longer, Dan came back from a weekend. He's like, I just hung out with Rex Chapman, and he is the coolest. And then we had Rex on the show several times, and I got to know Rex Chapman's story and how interesting he was and how smart he was before I think then the rest of the nation kind of found out through social media and other things. And now Rex has a book called It's Hard for Me to Live With Me, a memoir by Rex Chapman with our good buddy, both of our friends, Seth Davis. And it's so exciting to have Rex Chapman on the show right now. Rex, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. How's everything?
Good. So Seth sent me a note last week before the book was coming out. He's like, Rex doesn't think people are going to be into this necessarily. He was a little worried. And then LeBron shows up on social media. How did that, with the book in his hand, how did LeBron get involved with the book?
I'm not quite sure. He's always been very friendly when I've seen him, and I've bumped into him 2 or 3, 4 weeks ago in Phoenix at a ball game. We chatted for a minute. Next thing I know, the book came out, and he'd found a copy and had posted it on Twitter, which is pretty damn cool.
Rex, it's great to meet you, and thank you. Congratulations on the book. On the outside, it seems like you're a man who's lived like 100 lives. From basketball prodigy to NBA star to recovering addict to social media star, broadcaster. You work with the Phoenix Suns. I mean, of all these things, what's the most improbable, of all the lives you've lived? Which one do you look back and you go, wow, I can't believe it?
Probably drug addict, shoplifter. That every time I start talking about this book, there's several things that are pretty poignant, and but yeah, I still can't believe it was me, but it was definitely me. So that's something that I have to grapple with, and recovery is a long process, and it's never really over. So once I got out of rehab the last time, I really had to buckle down and figure out why I was doing the things that I was doing and why I was the way I was.
What did you find?
Someone that didn't know themselves very well. I was, a basketball player, and I think that's all I was for my first 32 years on earth. And then I spent 14 or 15 years on painkillers. So, it wasn't until my mid to late 40s that I really developed any sort of coping skills other than painkillers and gambling. So I really had to, and of course it's easier to gamble when you don't have any money. So that was that was taken care of pretty quickly. But yeah, it's been a process.
We're talking to Rex Chapman, whose new book, It's Hard for Me to Live With Me, is out. It's interesting, Rex, I've written in the early part of the book, and you are a superstar in Kentucky where basketball is king, and you're getting asked for autographs in the mall when you're in 10th grade. Part of me, who was a bench warmer, said, is it really that hard to live life when you're a superstar basketball player? I'll admit that thought crossed my mind. And I think other people were wondering, you were an incredible player in the NBA as well. So what would you say to someone who said, well, I mean, you had life handed to you on a silver platter because you were so athletically gifted, but still you could see that you were not really happy as a person?
Yeah. It's kind of be careful what you wish for. You know, I started playing basketball because I liked it. It was something to do. You know, we didn't have video games growing up. There was nothing else to do in Kentucky. You played football, basketball, baseball, whatever season it was, that's what you did. But I was good at basketball, better than most of the kids my age, and better than kids 2 and 3, 4 grades ahead of me a lot of times. And that's really all I had interest in. I didn't care about school. I didn't care about, many things that I should have, and therefore grew up very one-dimensional.
Rex Chapman joining us. It's Hard for Me to Live with Me is the memoir, but you've done so much. I thought the relationship with your dad was pretty fascinating, Rex. At times, it kind of reminded me a tiny bit of the Griffeys, just because your dad was a coach, but you said he was busy, a basketball coach, obviously, but he was busy with so many other things. He didn't get to a lot of your games when you were younger. That's a famous Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr. Sr. never got to watch a junior play in high school because he was busy being a professional baseball player himself. The advice you have out there for sports dads, for people who want to get the best out of their kids, but also want to have a healthy relationship, what would that be?
Ooh, I'm not sure I know the answer to that. My dad wasn't hard on me. He didn't tell me when to go play or what. I just liked it like that, and I was obsessed with it that way. So he didn't have to worry about me working at things. His biggest thing for me was he would come and watch me play, and most nights that I played, his teams had a game, his college team, so he didn't get to see a lot of those games. When he did come, there was a common theme when I would get done was that I didn't play hard enough. And these are games where I've got 30 and 35 points, and I think I'm playing really hard, but I'm a kid. And the difference was I knew that he wasn't judging me based on what he was looking at right there in the moment. He was trying to prepare me for college and the NBA, and knew that if he didn't, I probably wouldn't get that instruction. So it was volatile at times with my dad, just because I think he expected a lot, but also he knew I was talented, and he didn't want me to, just kind of slip through the cracks because I wasn't tough enough.
We're talking to Rex Chapman. Another interesting part of the book was the racial dynamics in Kentucky. When you were a star, you were sort of put on this pedestal as a great white hope. Have things changed in the basketball world since you were playing, in the 80s and 90s? Are things different? It seemed like you were encouraged by the University of Kentucky not to date a black woman. Are we done with all that, or do you still see remnants of that in the college basketball and pro basketball world?
Are we done with it? Where?
Done with it. I mean, I read the story. It was amazing. Yeah. Are white players and black players treated differently coming up through the system?
Ooh, I don't know about that. I do know that I was discouraged from, dating outside of my race while I was in school.
But by the coach?
It was by the coach. My coach, and this is well documented, Eddie Sutton, was a great basketball coach, Hall of Famer. I love his family to death. Eddie had an alcohol problem when I was in school. He was 49 years old, and he was getting pressured from, I don't know exactly who, higher ups, boosters, to let me know that it wasn't okay for me to be seen with my girlfriend, who I'd had since high school in our hometown. We also went to college together. That it wasn't okay to see her in public. So we were encouraged to hide and do things behind closed doors or at night. And I didn't understand. I felt like it was I was being told something morally wrong, and I didn't have any outlet. I didn't have anybody I could go to say anything. I had teammates that knew this. It was an open secret kind of. But the real struggle for me was that my black teammates were dating white girls, and they were not being discouraged. So I felt singled out, and I felt extremely sad and angry for my girlfriend, Sean Higgs, we're still very good friends. yeah, it hurt my feelings, but what are they saying to her? They didn't even meet her. So it was just hard to, at a young age, 18, 19 years old, I was doing everything I could do for the university and doing it well basketball wise, and didn't have a problem with any of that. It was just the off the court demands and pressures that I was uncomfortable with.
I thought it was funny too, Rex. You said you were compared to Kyle Macy at Kentucky when you modeled your game after Darrell Griffith. I mean, some of that stuff seems ridiculous now.
I know. I just didn't understand why I was being compared to Kyle Macy. And there was another guy named Jim Master that played at Kentucky, around a little older than I am. But our games were never, my game was nothing like Kyle Macy's game or Jim Master's game. But I was constantly compared to those guys, and it had to be because they were 6'4" and white.
Yeah, I mean, you could fly. I was telling Maggie before the show about, I heard the story on the Dan Patrick Show, the night you took Michael Jordan down. That's how I tell this story. How many?
Rex, I'm surprised you didn't end up as a chapter in The Last Dance.
Yeah, how many did you score against Jordan? It was a high number, I recall.
Yeah, which time, Rich? We beat them one year. The year they went 72-10. We sneaked up and beat them. I had 39, and we won going away. And we played them a couple weeks later. And right at the jump ball, Michael elbowed me in the sternum. It was like, oh, it's going to be like this tonight. And it was. He got like 40 in 3 quarters.
Rex Chapman is joining us. Rex mentioned you lived a lot of lives, and obviously one of them was Kentucky legend. And now we see Kentucky, if we can bring it to present day for a moment. We talked a lot about the book today. Semifinal SEC tournament, 7 o'clock Eastern time. It's your Wildcats against Texas A&M. Can you give us a little pulse of the fan base for the Kentucky Wildcats fan base? Because it's now been since 2011, 2012 season since they last won the title. Where's the fan base right now on Kentucky men's basketball?
Right on the bandwagon, baby. It's that time of year. This team is really exciting. They're really good. So much fun. I don't want this season to end. Such great personalities on the team. And I won't go into too much specifics, but Jeff Shepard's like my little brother. He came to Kentucky after I came to Kentucky. I was in the NBA the whole time he was at Kentucky. Was a great player. This is Reed Shepard's dad. I also know Reed Shepard's mom, Stacy, who I knew probably before Jeff Shepard. She was a point guard, steals leader, SEC, all SEC, assists leader. She was a point guard. Jeff was a crazy athlete, bouncy, athletic, could run and jump. And Reed has the best of both worlds. He's just a fantastic player. Guys love to play with him. I would not want to face the Kentucky Wildcats in this tournament.
I'm sorry, I said semifinal, quarterfinal tonight against Texas A&M. Apologies for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rex Chapman, it's hard for me to live with me. What do you want people to get from this who are struggling with addiction, whether it's gambling addiction, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's alcoholism? What advice would you give to, especially to young people with issues like that?
Pride for me is a big thing. Just dropping my pride a little bit so you can show some humility for where you are in life. The main thing I would take away from it is just talk to somebody. Find somebody you can trust, somebody that cares about you, that doesn't care if you break down and cry in front of them, no matter who it is. Find somebody you can trust, and if you can afford it, go to therapy. Therapy's really saved my life.
Rex, last one before you go, just a quick basketball one with your work with the Phoenix Suns. You've become a very prolific social media presence. That's, been a really, another one of your lives that you've lived is one online. And it's been really fun to watch you. The blocker charge bit is like an all-time great social media thing. Kevin Durant also has had his dabbles with social media. When you talk to Durant, do you find you guys are kindred spirits a little bit in that way? Or what's something you've learned about Durant that maybe the public wouldn't know?
Oh, man. Kevin Durant's one of my favorite people on the planet. That's so good. I mean, a top 10 player all time. it's just a privilege to get to watch that guy every single night. We don't talk about social media, but I would say we're kindred spirits basketball wise in that anybody that ever comes up to Kevin Durant. In fact, this was a couple months ago. I was at a team function and there were sponsors and fans and players there and whatnot. And Kevin and I were over in the corner talking, and Tom Chambers came up with his wife, and I guess Tom hadn't talked to Kevin in a while, and his wife had never met Kevin. And Tom came up apologizing, like, "Hey, Kevin, Rex, sorry, I just want to." And Kevin said, "Don't apologize, man." He said, I like talking basketball. I want to talk basketball. That's what Kevin does. And in that standpoint, we're kindred spirits, and that Kevin's all basketball all the time.
Does he get offended by the bus rider stuff? Can you tell that kind of characterization from Charles Barkley really hurts him?
I don't know what the bus rider thing is. What is it?
Barkley,
instead of driving the bus?
Yes.
No. Yeah. I honestly, and Charles is one of my great buddies from 35 years. I don't think Kevin listens to anything Charles says.
Rex, do you miss talking to Seth Davis all the time? We love Seth. I mean, that must have been a fun experience.
I do not miss talking to Seth about this stuff.
Oh, it was hard.
I miss talking to Seth, but yeah, the book stuff was really hard. 4 years of just, oh man, it was tough to get through, and he did all the heavy lifting. I'm barely literate.
Well, now we get to yell at him on TV during the tournament. That's one of my favorite. Right. Yeah, we could just Rex. Good luck with the book. It's already doing great. It's hard for me to live with me. I can't put it down. Love it, and I hope to talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Rex, thank you, and good luck to your Wildcats as well. Again, quarterfinal tonight, Texas A&M. It is a very good book. I mean, again, I say Rex lives all these lives. It's high school prodigy, it's college star, it's NBA star, it's fall from grace with addiction issues, and then it's the comeback and what he's doing now. It's amazing.
I am at the part where he is getting recruited, and it is a who's who. This was the 80s when there were he goes to Louisville, and Purvis Ellison, the core of the national title team, is taking him out. Then he goes to Kentucky with Kenny Skywalker is taking him out. So there's also a ton of great basketball in this book. People forget, not everyone remembers he was unbelievable at Kentucky, superstar. So there's a lot of basketball, a lot of addiction. I love your question, right? The guy's had now 7 lives. I feel like he's such an interesting guy. He'll probably have 3 more.
I know, for sure. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, very interesting. Who did the Cowboys pass on in free agency? We get a little more detail on that next. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
That was a lot of fun talking to Rex Chapman here, Maggie and Perloff show. Rex was, now I have to check this. He was in the slam dunk contest, right? I believe. Can we double check that? He was really, really good in the pros, but man, at college, I remember as a kid, like, oh, wow, this guy is so different in Kentucky. He just came up. In the book, it said he was 1, 2, or 3 recruited in his class. Yeah, there's a lot of things in that book that are really cool, and I think what he's done lately is amazing. So definitely buy his book because I loved it.
Rex Chapman, by the way, 1990 and 1991 dunk contest. He was.
Oh, there you go.
So if you ever miss any part of the show and you're listening to us on the absolutely free to download and crystal clear Odyssey app, you can just rewind the show if you ever want to catch something that you just missed. It's up for 24 hours. Also, we'll be posting the video to YouTube. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can find all the Maggie and Perloff stuff for you. Let's get to our Cowboy Quickie for today. Perloff, we got a little more clarity on just some of the people that the Cowboys have passed on in this free agent.
You mean everybody in the NFL?
Yeah, so we called everyone in the NFL. No, Derrick Henry was introduced in Baltimore. Says the Dallas Cowboys did not call him, did not make contact. We all thought this would be an easy slam dunk. Hey, the Cowboys should definitely be involved. He says absolutely not. Then Stephen Jones was at an event yesterday out in Dallas somewhere, and he was asked about the lack of moves in free agency.
I mean, that's everybody certainly has that right. I mean, we've, I know where the frustration is, the fact that we haven't had success in the playoffs to their satisfaction. Until we do that, then, the criticism is certainly something that's going to be there. And we know that's going to be there, but we're going to stick with what we believe will ultimately get us a championship here for our fans. But, we don't define all in as what you spend in free agency.
And there you have it. We don't define all in by what you do in free agency.
So how
begs
do you
the
do?
question,
Yeah.
how do you define all in? And I think it's a little of what Michael Lombardi told us at the Super Bowl, which was the former GM, Michael Lombardi, who said he thinks all in was just re-signing your own guys. And I think if that's what the all in meant to the Joneses, then they should have used a different term. Because just re-signing your own guys, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, sending Dexter Lawrence, finding a contract extension for Dak Prescott, that is given for fans. You hit on these draft picks, of course you're going to give them extensions. That doesn't define all in. That defines business as usual.
No, see, that's ridiculous. And that's not an excuse because everyone, all in, what's the all in team of the recent memory?
The Rams?
The Rams. They gave up all their draft picks for Matthew Stafford and Jalen Ramsey. That's all in. Right. There's no other definition of all in. All in is not re-signing your guys. That's in, or I don't know what that is.
I get that. I think that's business as usual.
Yeah,
That's just
business,
normal business
exactly.
is re-signing CeeDee Lamb. Of course it is. Micah Parsons, obviously. These are guys who are going to be part of your core for a long time.
That being said, you can't kill them for not signing Derrick Henry, who's a 30-year-old running back. Smart teams probably don't want to pay up. Although Derrick Henry didn't cost a lot, you don't want to pay up for an older running back. So they have been doing smart things as well. That's the irony of this great Cowboys experiment. They're this conservative. They go interior line a lot. They do some really smart things, and they have a lot of good players.
Yet again, more Cowboys hype with nothing to show for it. That's your Cowboy Quickie. We should also mention just quickly, I know Bogish, you mentioned it in your update, a complaint filed on Wednesday against Dak Prescott for a 2017 alleged sexual assault. Back of an SUV was some allegedly bad things happening. Now, Prescott claims that he's being extorted for $100 million. And now police are investigating both the accusation about the 2017 incident and also investigating a potential extortion. So suffice it to say, really messy issue.
Yeah.
One that is not going to be resolved for quite some time, but we are obviously not ignoring this situation because no matter who it is, but the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys being potentially involved in a sexual assault allegations is pretty alarming.
Yeah, I mean, also, and you mentioned the contract. We came into this offseason almost certain that they were going to have an extension and make him one of the richest quarterbacks in NFL history. I think it's a real question. Does what's happening with the police slow that down?
Stephen Jones said yesterday it will not.
Yeah, but still, we haven't seen a contract and we haven't even really heard of them talking in any significant way. So there's all these football questions too. Do you really want to sign Dak Prescott for 4 more years? We have a lot of people calling Cowboys fans who do not want 4 more years of Dak.
Right, just obviously simply with the football stuff. Quick update
They
today.
want 4 more years of Rodgers, by the way, but
right.
he's running for vice president.
Yeah, of course, the campaign trail. Yesterday, Stephen Jones also said they actually had talked to
Oh,
Dak.
I'm sorry.
So nope, that's okay. It just came out. They had talked to Dak they've had a personal conversation with him, but again, we're no closer to an extension.
Yeah.
And that's the first we'd heard of it. So listen, it's a situation where Dak Prescott's claiming everything was consensual. She's saying it's not. These things are, this one is going to hang around for a while, and we have no idea how this is going to go.
Yeah, I think obviously we want to wait to find out more from the police investigation and people reporting on this. We deal with these stories a lot. Patience is obviously you have to be patient because it sounds like the police are just jumping into this at full force. We'll find out a lot in the coming weeks.
Edge Bogish is here with headlines. Hello.
Hello again, guys. So the Bears trade for Keenan Allen, the Seahawks trade for Sam Howell, the Lions ink former Bengals D-tackle DJ Reader. But the move of the day in football was John Gruden heading to Italy. The former coach and TV star will be an advisor to the Milano Sea Men.
He's not even the head coach?
Nope, just Just helping the C-men who play in the European League of Football. Their season starts in May. Get your tickets now. This is not exactly where we thought Gruden would end up. A few people expected him maybe to become the Saints offensive coordinator. He advised that team last year. Then they fired Pete Carmichael Jr. Some thought Gruden would then slip into that role. That didn't happen. So plan B is the Milano C-men in Italy.
This is when they're telling you without telling you. You know, you're not welcome back yet, John. You know, this is the league has spoken, college football has spoken. What we saw and read about in the emails was reprehensible, and you're not welcome back. You are banished to the European Football League still.
And there are still legal battles, right? So, I mean, how...
And he's winning a lot of those, allegedly, against the league, some of the early procedural stuff.
Yeah, so, like, you'd think that it would not be possible for anyone to give him a real job while he's suing the
Brian
people that
Flores
he works for.
is suing the league, and he's a defensive coordinator.
I guess. But, yeah, this is... If Italy is your only other option, it's probably time to give up the NFL dream.
This didn't work for other guys, though. It didn't. I was thinking, just look at Petito went overseas and came back.
Larry Brown.
Larry Brown did it.
Well, he hasn't come back yet, but he just went there. But he wasn't dealing with this kind of scandal.
Yeah, right. But it is a good place to hide. I wonder, will there be an exhibition between the Seamen and the Seahawks? That would be good.
Yeah, dad joke.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question.
By the way, with that name, the Milano team, we could have got a lot of jokes. So we're very clear.
You know, it's funny. We're not going to take the low-hanging fruit with that one. A lot
of golf elbow on that team.
But if you tell Perloff that he's been gripping something tightly and he hasn't picked up a golf club in 20 years, that one we will take. What do you think the quality of football is like in Italy?
Not good, Maggie. Thanks for asking. I'm assuming it's not great.
Do you think it looks like a high-level high school team? like a Don Bosco, either the one in California or the one in New Jersey?
Like would they? The thing I'm thinking is, would they perform better against IMG Academy than Bishop Sycamore?
Oh gosh, Bishop Sycamore.
And I think they probably would. Because they're, I guess, adults.
They're adults, yeah.
But there were adults on Bishop Sycamore, too.
Yeah, good point.
So
they had share helmets, though, on Bishop Sycamore. That was...
Yeah.
Do we know what surface they play on in the European League of Football since we've had ice recently?
Yeah, they play on tomato sauce.
I'm looking at their depth chart. They do have Nicholas Dallamasso at quarterback.
That changes everything. You know, he can sling it.
They got him?
Yeah. Lorenzo Bassi is their leading wide receiver. They're really Italian people on this team. They're not overseas players.
I tell you, you know what's going to happen. This is the future and fate once he's done playing the NFL. Tommy DeVito.
Oh, there you go.
He's the commissioner.
Yeah. I bet he'd make a little bit of money over there, too. Not like here, but.
For sure.
Now, let's go deep down this rabbit hole here. These seem to be some lingering initial, like the Rhine Fire are in this league.
Oh, still?
And the Frankfurt Galaxy.
But Germany knows football, American
right,
football.
But those are all European, what was that league called?
NFL Europe.
NFL Europe, yeah.
But I don't think it's the same team.
Didn't Kurt Warner play for the Rhine team?
A lot of guys were over there. Yeah, he was definitely over there.
So I don't think this league is that. I don't think the Munich Ravens are like the AA affiliate of the Baltimore Ravens.
But actually, I bet a lot of young German people probably play pretty good football, I would imagine. Because, Germany had all these U.S. bases over there, so football got wildly popular. That's why they put all the teams in Rhine and places like that.
Our friend Andrew Brandt was the general manager of the Barcelona Dragons or whatever.
Andrew Brandt was a GM of the... I had no idea.
Barcelona Dragons still exists. My buddy Spiro did these games. It was one of his first major jobs at a school.
Spiro Ditas?
Yeah.
Wow, super name drop there.
Hamburg
My
Sea
good friend
Devils.
Spiro Ditas.
Well, you had Andrew Brandt.
But you did first name basis. That's why I was like,
so that was my mistake.
I was like, are there two Spiros? Are you talking about Spiro Ditas, who we all know?
I fixed that mistake.
My friend Spiro.
Meanwhile, Ian Eagle joining us in about an hour. Now that we're talking about Syracuse grads.
It's either Spiro Ditas or Spiro Agnew, and I don't think you were friends with Spiro Agnew. So
we had a falling out. That guy. Speaking of vice presidents.
You know what? I'm taking all of my snark back. Good for John Gruden. He'll be an NFL head coach within 18 months.
Yeah, no, he's coming back.
Yeah, you fix the Milano Seamen in this league, and they win. They take out the Helvetic Guards.
Right.
Look out.
Let's go Seamen.
Yeah. I mean, he could definitely get back into college football. That college football, it is easy to get back into.
He was trying, and there was rumors that I was trying to remember the team, but I couldn't. But
I remember that too. He interviewed
that somebody may hire him as an OC, and then that didn't go through as well. I don't know why I feel like the team wore red. It wasn't Nebraska, but it was one of those teams, and it didn't happen. It's Indiana. Indiana had a big coaching change, and he went to Indiana, I believe. Mm-hmm. So the thought was like, hey, he may get, if not a head coaching job, maybe an OC job. And he couldn't even get Indiana Hoosier ball, so here we are now with the Seamen.
Yeah.
This was the next best option.
Okay, here's a question, though. Say the Milano Seamen end up winning the title. Shouldn't the head coach of the team actually be the one who gets an NFL job, not John Gruden? Who's an advisor role? Bring over the head coach guy.
Mag, you don't understand. He'd be the Jerry West of advisors for the Seamen.
Right, let's go Seamen.
I mean...
And... Judging by some of the final scores from last year, whoever's the coach of the Seamen not doing a good job.
Already on the hot seat?
This is from last year. They were getting hammered last year, left and right. So if they win this year, it's because of Gruden.
No, you know what? Gruden's over there is the vulture. That's the guy, the famous assistant who comes in and just waiting around.
He's Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
The vulture.
He's Doc Rivers.
He's
how do you know it's not Tom Brady who saw the potential in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster? Maybe Gruden sees something in the young Milano players that he thinks is untapped potential.
I don't know.
Or he'll do what he did with the actual Bucks, which is take a team. I know that
Tony Dungy's
team. He'll do a Tony Dungy. As soon as they get good, he'll be like, all right, now I'm the head coach. And
that wasn't his fault.
I mean,
that's the Bucs' fault. That was not John Gruden's fault that he was handed a Super Bowl team.
The Stuttgart Surge beat them 78-27 late last year.
That was close.
I don't know what promise you're seeing in that.
Why didn't they get a defensive coordinator guy? They 72 points. 28 points. They could win games with that.
They've got an offense. They don't need Gruden.
Stuttgart has no idea how to cover Y2 banana.
or just a simple out route, turns out. Or any other play.
I remember during the coaching cycle, there's a defensive coordinator or a defensive line coach, I believe, with the Seahawks that looks a lot like a guy who works here in our digital department, Anthony Gallo.
Yes, there was.
Do you think that any of us could be a head coach of European level football?
I can.
I think I could do it.
Probably helps that I speak Dutch.
The language barrier, you know.
Everyone will run drills.
Not for me.
Do you think Ryan Gosling would be a good defensive back in this league?
Honestly, they could use Ryan Gosling and get 72 points.
Use Coach Boone.
Listen, you could let up 72 points. They might as well have hired Sean Payton.
You know, John Gruden's play calls are famously insane. They're gigantically long and complicated. I don't know how.
Can he do that in Italian?
I don't know if John Gruden knows how to coach. Have you ever seen John Gruden turn it off? It doesn't exist. He's going to screw up with that team. They're going to have no idea what he's talking about.
They'll learn plays and the English language as well.
I know. He's probably waking up at 3 a.m. to watch film of the Helveticas.
They should go all in. Go hire Belichick.
He's looking at a guy, Luigi. He's like, I love this guy, Luigi. Luigi.
How soon until his first inappropriate Italian accent?
It's already happened. That's right. It probably happened in the interview, and they're like, we'll overlook
on
it.
that.
There's already bad emails that they're acid washing right now.
He probably just doesn't have an email. Like, John, you have no access to the computer.
Just give us a call.
Here's this walkie-talkie. Yeah. This is how you will communicate with anybody within the facility.
Here's a tin can with a string attached to another tin can. Just do all your communicating through that.
Okay, you guys rightfully criticizing John Gruden, but his quarterback interview show is the best ever.
When he bring him into the trailer?
He'd bring the rookies in there and be like, all right, you can do this against Arkansas, but what happens when TJ Watt's coming around the edge? And then he'd end every episode, you're going to be a great NFL player. John Gruden, everyone on that show was a future Hall of Famer. And if he brings that energy to Italy, this is going to work, people. He is back. He's coming back.
Just be funny if he's criticizing these quarterbacks in English and they're just like, no, I don't understand. No comprendo. I don't know what. I don't understand Italian. But something close to no comprendo.
Who is this man?
Yeah.
Do you think they know Chucky? Do you think that players, these young players?
Oh no!
I bet it's the universal thing.
You think so?
Yeah.
What?
Like, I think they've probably seen the memes.
They hate Chucky.
In Italy, they know soccer. They have no idea what Chucky is. Even those players have no idea.
You don't think that movie got over there? It definitely did.
That's what I'm trying to say.
No, but they don't know John Gruden is Chucky.
I'm saying just do they know Chucky?
Oh, do they know the movie Chucky? Yeah, sorry.
I think they do.
Even those young players.
I think horror movies, anything that's universal, good guy, bad guy, those smash at international sales.
Well, that's actually a great question. EJ, you're young. Does Chucky translate? Did you know Freddy Krueger and all this stuff, old school stuff?
Yeah. I think Maggie made a great point that I actually didn't think about. I think horror translates maybe better than any other genre in terms of like everybody knowing all
comic
the
books.
Yeah.
Well, even that's a little tricky. But yeah, I mean, Batman's from the 40s or whatever. So yeah. That's
But old people don't know that clown in it. I think, what's his name?
People.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know the name of him, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's like the
Pennywise?
Pennywise. Yeah. I think that really we think of Freddy. Who's the bad guy? Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah. Those are 45 years
Michael
ago.
Myers, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I mean, that's an impactful movie. I don't know how we got here.
I also think they're actively making Chucky shows.
There's a show.
It's a show,
there
right?
was, and maybe still is, a show that was on USA Today. USA, rather. I only know because I watched Raw and it would come on after, and they had all these commercials for it.
A show about Chucky? Is it a rom-com? What kind of show is it?
It's like a series.
Yeah,
It's like
Chucky marries
a
Sydney
movie.
Sweeney.
And he said, hey, we're gonna do
They took over Charmed.
Like the same
Kevin
network that had
Jenkins in it.
Suits had a Chucky show?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, is there character development? How is it a TV show? It's a
We're
movie.
out of ideas.
A Chucky TV show?
It's like the Curious George books. Chucky goes to work.
Does Chucky evolve into a non-killing
No,
machine?
it's the man with the
he's
yellow
still killing
hat,
people.
and then he
He's-
decapitates the man
Yeah,
with the
he's
yellow
still
hat.
killing people.
I've never heard of a horror episodic TV show.
American Horror Story?
Well, yeah, but that was different characters every show. I mean, like Chucky is like, you got to have
Walking Dead?
Whatever. Anyway.
I'm telling you, we're out of ideas. We're out of ideas.
I like when Perloff just checks out.
Walking
He
Dead.
starts it. You
Chucky
give it
and
an answer,
Walking
he goes,
Dead.
Never mind.
Well, yeah.
He turns his mic off. He's like, whatever.
Goosebumps?
I'm just saying, is Chucky going to be, is it going to be Cheers where he's going to go to a bar after work every day and everyone knows him? What'd you do today, Chucky? Tough day at the office. Had killed 3 people.
You think about the new Muppets show that happened. That was like that, where the Muppets were like famous and like, Kermit got a divorce from Miss Piggy. It was like
That's
NBC.
right. How do you do the story arc on Chucky? I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of one note.
I'm obsessed with this show now. We got to find out.
He's like a Cliff or Norm on Cheers.
Yeah.
He sits at the end of the bar and has a weird
Brooding.
drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
It's had
Chucky's?
3 seasons, by the way.
Oh my
No
goodness.
way. The Chucky show?
Yeah, Jennifer Tilly's in it.
She plays the female Chucky. It's his wife from the movies.
Oh,
I know
well, that's
that.
the
Talk
arc.
about someone that needs a check. I like her, but
my
I mean, come
God.
on, find some better parts.
Oh, Pete.
Really?
I mean,
Book
wow.
12.
Since Liar Liar, that was it.
Pete's 12th book, Get a Life. And a better agent.
Find better
Get a
roles.
better job.
Doing it for the paycheck, the Pete Pilates story.
I
A
mean, come
list.
on. Why are you doing that? I mean, really.
Pete
Wait.
next was after Robert De Niro.
This is crazy. The story stars mostly teenagers. It's a coming-of-age story that tackles themes of bullying, domestic life, murder, and the main character is a kid who's inspired by the doll. Oh, my God. I'm totally checking this out.
Gosh.
Wow. Makes them chilly with the kids.
And I'm sorry, we're flat out of time for any more headlines.
Oh, fine.
Just
Whatever.
everything you were thinking of, just hold on to it for a second.
Was that
You can
segment
look
an
online,
ad
people.
for the Chucky show on USA Network?
We better get some kind of kickback from that. Meanwhile, Bogish, thank you. Bang up job.
Yeah, my best one yet.
Coming up. Oh, man, we've got some news about college football. We'll get to that next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, CBS Sports Radio. So some college football news, and I just want to distill it down into one salient point here, which is there's a deadline about not the 12-team format, Perloff, but the 14-team eventual college football playoff, which is coming right around the corner. And essentially what you have to know is that the Big Ten and the SEC are taking so much more money than the ACC, the Big 12, the Group of Five, and Notre Dame's got its own thing, that while they're not splitting off yet, it is just a solidification, if you will, that the Big Ten and the SEC have the power in college football right now, and it is, I won't say unchecked, but basically. So whatever they want to do right now, it's their world, and everyone else has to get on board. Less payout, all of that. You have to say yes. And whatever the format ends up being, you know, for how they're going to get teams into the 14-team playoff, the SEC and the Big Ten are going to decide that as well. So the reason why I think this is important and interesting is because the SEC, the Big Ten have all the power. That's not going away. And we seem to be inching closer and closer to just the two of them becoming the de facto AFC and NFC in college football. This is just another example of that.
Guy, it's funny. I read it a little bit differently. I thought the other conferences saved the multi-conference structure of college football with this deal.
Really? How?
Because if they didn't give them this sweetheart deal with all the money, then they're gone.
Yeah, but they're getting so much less. They're not being looked at as equal partners at all.
Yeah, I know. But if they didn't do this deal, if they had demanded to be equal partners, then Big Ten and SEC were gone. And then we actually would have that. But now the way I read this deal is, hey, we all reached an agreement. We're going to keep the different conferences around. It's just going to give a huge advantage to Big Ten and SEC. So I think this is a desperate move of survival that I think is going to work. I think all the conferences are going to survive now just because of this deal. Otherwise, if they had said, hey, equal or nothing, then SEC and Big Ten would be like, yeah, nothing. Let's go. So I think in a way this was a lifeline, and I think it worked. I have a feeling, and I don't know why, that in 10 years you're going to still have this structure, which sounds ridiculous because nothing stays the same in college football in 10 years. I think they saved the Big Ten and SEC from breaking off with this deal.
I just see it the other way, but even if they did, it would only be for whatever the next TV rights deal is. And even that, I would imagine, would have language that says the SEC and Big Ten can change the terms of it maybe at any time.
Yeah.
It's going that way. It's a matter of, I think, when we get there. And I think that the ACC and the Big 12 end up just for basically getting absorbed in. Whatever teams they want do end up getting absorbed into the Big Ten and the SEC, and then everyone else figures out the second tier.
You know, I think there's some advantages for the Big Ten and the SEC to have those other conferences around. Believe it or not, I just the way it's going to be set up with 14 teams, I do think the Big Ten and SEC will get all the buys that they want. I'm not sure that I'm not sure it's something they want. They might want this current structure. It seems like they're pretty happy with all this money. It's a lot of money. The other thing, here's what I think the issue is going to be: the 14, the automatic buys, the structure.
Yeah. The Big Ten and the SEC are going to determine what it is.
All of this, I still wonder, why don't they just do it like the NCAA tournament where they take the top 14 teams? All those rules are going to cause a lot of actual football chaos, which we had this year with Florida State being undefeated, and then they made a judgment call that they're not going to be competitive in the Final Four because their quarterback was injured. Why don't you just say, here's the top 14 schools? Why do they always have to add layers and layers of rules that make everything more difficult?
Well, I think that was the concession to the other conferences. Yeah. That was a lifeline to the Big 12 and the ACC, and that's going to last 2 years, I think, and then it's going to go away. They have not decided on the structure for 14, and I don't think you're getting now with the top two teams in each conference getting in. I don't think that's going to happen. As far in terms of automatic qualifiers, I think the format changes for 2026. Are we talking about?
I thought a big part was that the Big Ten and the SEC were holding out for 3 automatic bids. I think they'll get that if they want it.
I think they're going to get whatever they
want.
But
I think even those 3 automatic bids, that'll probably cause a problem somewhere. Don't have any automatic bids. Just take 1 through 14. Why is it just because the Big Ten and SEC want it? I think the problem is going to be that there's probably going to be 9 SEC schools that qualify for 14. I just think that any structure here, college football, any kind of thing they do has unintended consequences, and who knows what's going to come out of this. And you do have a good point. Things change fast. So in 3 years, it could be way different.
Well, that's why I read in this ESPN story that sources have said there's ironclad protections for the Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, ACC champions, and the highest ranked Group of 5 champion, along with a series of access protections for Notre Dame. Maybe that's now with the 12. When we get to 14, I don't believe that it's going to be so ironclad for the ACC and for the Big 12. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all breathing a sigh of relief that they even got this deal done, because you're totally right. The direction is those 2 major conferences, but this seems like a compromise that can keep the current system quasi in place.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do. Man, I've got it. There's a story. Yes, EJ? There's a story that I've been wanting to get you guys, and now we're just out of time. We have to do this next hour because I've been talking about it all week. I've become a little obsessed with online scams or in-person scams. And there's been one I've been trying to talk to you guys about all week long. Can we do that next hour, please? Because this was a doozy of a scam.
Oh, boy. I'm a little nervous.
I couldn't believe it. This is not a Nigerian prince email scam. This one was sinister.
That's a scam?
Oh, no. Pete. The 14th book. How to drain your bank account.
That's a scam.
1 hour. Forward written by me. Also, which teams are drafting quarterbacks come April?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She can put away a large pizza by herself. He's allergic to cheese. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Been a wild day. We had Rex Chapman on earlier. We will talk to Ian Eagle later. Selection Sunday. I have a scientific approach this year. The bracket is one. Tell people real quick. I'm winning
Your
the bracket.
scientific approach to the
Yes.
NCAA tournament.
Forget Pomeroy standing. It's Perloff standings,
wow.
rankings. Tell people how they can find our bracket, by the way.
Oh, for Nick and for the Perloffs?
Yes, I know.
You can go to our social media at Maggie and Pearl.
Yeah.
We have the link there, and we will retweet it right now if you would like to participate. One of our great fans and friends, Nick in Texas, does the Maggie and Perloff unofficial Facebook page called The Perloffs and the Pearl Jam Season 3 Live.
And my NC State Wolfpack are to keep on winning and end up in that tournament. Huge win last night against Duke. It's such an exciting time. There's so much going on, Maggie. We have NFL free agency. We have tournament. We have, I can't wait later to hear scams that are on your mind.
I have, new scams that I want to alert the public to these scams as well. So we'll get to those in just a moment. We have questions about who should be drafting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Let's get to that. So EJ's going to throw us out a team. We'll tell you, will they draft a quarterback come April? EJ, start us off, sir.
Okay, so let's start with the New York Football Giants. They brought Drew Lock in. A little bit of an interesting reporting coming out that perhaps Drew Lock may have an opportunity to start in New York. So do the Giants draft a quarterback?
Absolutely. I think absolutely the Giants are drafting a quarterback because Daniel Jones and Drew Lock is not the answer. And right now, you are drafting 6th overall. And the last time the Giants drafted 6th, they also took a quarterback because they told themselves the lie that all teams say. If we get this right, we will not be picking this high again, and they will fall into that.
Yeah, but that guy's still there, and they still want to make that work.
Different regime. Who took Daniel Jones?
I think the Drew Lock trade at $5 million, which is backup money, signifies there's too many quarterbacks in that room. They're not going to have Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, and a rookie all standing there. By the way, two of the best basketball players in the NBA. Drew Lock was a D1 recruit in basketball. Daniel Jones also a baller. To me, Drew Lock signifies no more quarterback. They can't have 3 quarterbacks sitting there. Who's going to play?
Daniel Jones doesn't play a lot because he's hurt so often. You don't actually have 2 quarterbacks. You've got like 1 1/4 quarterback there. And sorry for Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets. I don't think this is shaping up well for him either. I think they are definitely drafting a QB.
All right,
Who's next?
Let's go to the Denver Broncos. They got rid of Russell Wilson, so now in theory there's an opening. Do they draft a quarterback?
They definitely draft a quarterback. I love me some Jarrett Stidham, but I think it's time for Sean Payton for 2 reasons wants to draft a quarterback. A, he needs a quarterback. B, I think he needs to have some time here. He needs to buy some time because it's going to be hard for him to reach the goals that he came in to Denver with, which was obviously a playoff run. If he gets a rookie quarterback, I think that gives him a breath where he can say, I can build this team the way I want it because last year was so bad. I think he thought he was going to go in there and immediately pull some Sean Payton tricks and be elite. Not happening. Draft a quarterback and everyone will say, okay, we'll give you 2 years, Sean.
This is more organizational malpractice from the Denver Broncos that they're so desperate they have to draft a quarterback. So it's not even do you like a guy, do you love a guy? You have to. Unless you want to bring in Justin Fields, I don't know who else is out there for you. And again, Stidham.
I like Jarrett Stidham. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but that's not what people were promised when you're bringing in Sean Payton. It's not to have Jarrett Stidham as your quarterback and just be middling in the AFC West. Now you've got to give people a little bit of hope. You've got to give them something to grab onto off of this mess coming off of Russell Wilson. So to me, you have to do it for the future and for the current vibes, if you will.
It feels like, if I may, Bo Nix seems like, I don't know what a Sean Payton type is because there's no other Drew Brees,
Right.
But you think short pocket guy. I think that's Bo Nix in this draft. or maybe Penix. I'm not sure because they sit around 12. They're not getting into that top 3. I don't think they're going to trade up to that. So J.J. McCarthy, he's not a Drew Brees type.
Again,
So
I'm
who
telling
is
you,
the quarterback?
Desperate times.
But by the way, those mistakes are already made. It's forget the Russell Wilson thing. You screwed that up. It's time to start over. I don't know why they have the same GM.
All right, let's go to Las Vegas. What about them? Do they draft a quarterback? They just acquired Gardner Minshew.
This is a quarterback for me. Again,
Yeah.
I don't know if Antonio Pierce was, trying to head fake everybody, so we don't need Band-Aids anymore. I mean, Gardner Minshew would be the ultimate Band-Aid. It's fine. You can have your bridge guy, but the Raiders have to make a move here. And if I'm Devontae Adams, I am very interested in what they are doing because I'm on a Hall of Fame track, and I cannot afford to be wasting years. I know Adams' numbers are still good, even while Aiden O'Connell's throwing to him, but you've got to figure out this situation, or if I'm Devontae Adams, I am really upset.
Okay, I agree with you, quarterback, but you're in the second tier here, so it's not like they're top 3. You might not get who you want with the Raiders. You might end up with Gardner Minshew there because, first of all, the Raiders, they have a lot of needs. I don't think it's a guaranteed match. I hope they take Michael Penix because he could get it out to Devontae Adams. I'm not as convinced that they're going to do it. I think they should. I do not know what they're going to do because they're totally unpredictable, Maggie.
Okay, and what about the Dallas Cowboys? We know their quarterback is facing some serious allegations. He's also countersuing or started the suit as well. What do the Dallas Cowboys do given the questions around Dak Prescott?
They're all in, right? So
allegedly.
What does that mean?
They have a lot of needs. Honestly, they can't stop the run and they can't run the ball. I think that is everything they do needs to be focused on that. They had no money to spend in free agency, so they have to turn to the draft to fix real holes. Even with that potential salary cap issue and Dak Prescott, everything going on, I think they need to draft a player who can contribute this year.
Can I go half in on this? I know this is. I think if one of these guys falls into the second round, like if the Michael Penix or one of these guys does fall into the second round.
That's late in the second round, though.
I could see them trading up to try to make a trade to get a quarterback in a second round. I would not be surprised if they did that. And there you go. There are some teams that need some quarterbacks. It's just about a little after 5 after. That's when we do 5 after on Fridays at this time. The top 5 moments of the week from the Maggie and Perloff Show. Let's hit it.
I got 5 on it. It's been a big week on Maggie and Perloff. Here are the week's top 5 moments at 5 after.
All right, Perloff, we start with number 5. This was fresh off the Oscars. I came in on Monday and I said I was always a little giddy when I see Slash, the guitarist from Guns N' Roses, whenever he makes an appearance on TV like he did at the Oscars. EJ, younger than us, I asked, does he know Slash? I said to EJ, I'm like, I don't know, you're a little younger than the rest of us. Do you ever get excited when you see Slash? And he goes, Cordell Stewart? Beautiful. The sports fan that you are.
And by the way, you do get excited for Cordell Stewart, as you should.
Yeah, I mean, also we have the same last name, so of course.
Yeah.
Kindred. Number 4, this is, we know Pete Bellotti, prolific author. Would he write children's books? Pete Bellotti? Pete Bellotti's bestsellers, What the Hell's Wrong with You? Yeah. What's the Matter with You People? And Why the Hell Are We All Here?
Yeah, very kid-friendly titles there.
Yeah. Has a library ever pre-banned a book?
Go. It would be a first. Number 3, Russell Wilson. Of course, we know is signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Perloff put it out on social media. Russ needs a new motto. Got a little X-rated with people saying things like keep hammering and more.
Forge ahead, stay hard. See what I mean?
Oh, God.
I don't know.
Stay hard. I'm done with that one.
Feel the pipe? Okay.
What kind of mood were you in when you were writing these?
I didn't write these. These are all the fans.
I thought that was you for a second, but you were crowdsourcing.
Yeah, and I think we all know what won. Let's weld. It's happening.
Steelers
country.
It's
happening. Let's weld, Steelers country.
Let's weld. Okay, second, and we're doing our top 5 moments from the Maggie and Perloff Show this week. Man, did we learn a lot about Perloff this week. You really take center stage, pal. Early, when you were a younger man, maybe didn't have the health care and maturity that you have today. You saw some shady doctors, including one who had a homemade whirlpool.
went to this physical therapist who was old school. He basically had a closet with a homemade. He had a homemade whirlpool. It was just a tub of water.
Everybody spun his hand.
He somehow
A big paddle?
He geared up a fan that he made at home. I'm not kidding.
And you stayed?
But I did 8 weeks of it.
Different guy.
8 weeks.
That was later.
8 weeks.
He went back 8 times. We also found out Perloff got a rash from that whirlpool.
Yeah.
That was-
The word scabies came up. I don't really know what that is, but that he healed my ankle. I'm probably going to go back to that guy. If anyone needs a recommendation,
He hasn't been shut down by the health department.
you can't find him on the internet anymore, but I can get you his phone number, and he has a landline.
You come in there, the house has been condemned. Okay, number 1 on the list again. More of Perloff's calamities. Found out he has golfer's elbow, and a caller called in to tell us what that is.
Probably because you're gripping the golf club too hard and you need to strengthen your rotator cuff.
Perloff doesn't golf. Great advice, though. How else do you get golf elbow?
You're gripping something too hard.
Keep in mind, this is a family show.
Perloff, for the love of God.
Hello.
Dave, in all seriousness, I know how it hurt. I specifically heard it on one play.
On one Debbie Does Dallas.
I didn't realize he said, "You don't golf?" That was a damning line by that guy.
There you go. Top 5 moments.
You can get tennis elbow without playing tennis. Can you? I don't know.
I don't know. We're not doctors.
I mean, he said you can. But he said you're gripping something hard.
Yep, too tightly. So that's on you. And to say you knew exactly when you did it,
I did.
Also didn't help matter.
I tore. Actually, I think it's a way more serious injury. I think I need Tommy John surgery.
Okay, Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
We're going to miss 2 months. You'll be back for a couple spot starts in July.
We've already figured it out. You're not missing any of the show for March Madness. We've talked about this before, and now you're trying to do this elbow thing and say, "Oh, maybe I can get some time off, watch March Madness." No,
that was Maggie's idea. She told me to get surgery on March Madness.
We're a morning show. We can figure this out.
I know, but the surgery I suggested, well, it's not, I don't know that, but I said, what is a popular surgery that men get around March Madness?
Yeah.
They call it Vast Madness.
Vast Madness, yes.
Vasectomies.
Brilliant idea.
It goes up it spikes like 400%.
Except that actually no one goes into the office anymore, so everyone is at home pretending to work, watching TV.
Yeah, this one just involves a few more ice packs. So that's the point, is that you can sit home on your couch, with an ice pack watching the NCAA tournament. I'm sure our next guest, Ian Eagle, is going to love to know that a lot of people in America are watching him after fresh off of vasectomy.
Yeah, I just going ahead to next Thursday. It's 1:45 p.m. and my bracket is already toast. It's like Purdue lost to who? I remember last year I was out of it so fast. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. So you got a lot there. 855-212-4CBS. It is Maggie and Perloff. Ian Eagle is going to join us next. Of course, one of the most respected and talented voices, play-by-play in our industry. He is at the top of his profession. He's calling the Final Four and the championship game this year. He's taken over for Jim Nantz. We are pleased that he will join us next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Perloff, how many times do I come in the morning, still dark out, and I say, man, Ian Eagle had a great call last night?
Almost every day.
That is the truth.
No, all the time. You're a huge fan.
And the man is good enough to join us now. Ian Eagle, one of the greatest to ever do it. CBS, Turner, Westwood One, Yes Network, and now taking over the Final Four and the National Championship game, taking over for Jim Nantz. Ian, thanks so much for the time. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys. Sorry, Perloff. You don't need to hear that anymore.
Oh, no, I love it.
It's annoying. It's getting annoying for you. I'm sorry. It's against the grain for you.
No, he loves it. We're all obsessed, Ian, with all of your calls. And, you know, it's funny because you've been doing the NCAA tournament for a long time. You're not a stranger to this, but obviously taking over the Final Four in the National Championship game is a major honor. Have you been prepping differently this year? I mean, do we need to cue up a Rocky-style montage for how you've been training for this?
No, the prep has been exactly the same. It's the same feeling I have every year before the tournament, which is I know it's going to be an avalanche of information. I'm still excited about it. I should probably write myself a letter, seal it, then open the letter the day of the first round. And all the letter says is, it's going to be okay, man. It's obviously the mystery of it more than anything else. Anyone that does play-by-play, you try to get out in front. You try to prepare. You try to get ahead. And with this tournament, you just can't do it. You have no idea where you're going. You have no idea which teams you're going to get. You try to consume as much as you can. You watch as much as you can. But until you know the specific matchups, there's really not much that you can do. So once you accept that and know that it's really going to be a fire drill in many ways, then you get to that mental place where you've accepted the circumstances in front of you.
Is that more so now because of, are you commenting on the chaos of college basketball? They had Florida Atlantic in the Final Four. Was it easier 20 years ago when it seemed like Kentucky and Duke were there every year?
No, in many ways it was harder, Andrew, because you just didn't have the information available at your fingertips. So you were really banking on SIDs and media guides being mailed to you, just to know what the players looked like and what their background was all about. You couldn't get that information unless it was provided to you.
Oh, okay.
Now, within seconds you can find out what you need, and now it's just a matter of sitting back and taking it all in, and then parachuting in and being a quote-unquote expert for those first-round matchups. This has nothing to do with the Final Four, by the way, guys. This has everything to do with the games in front of you, which is that opening weekend. Final Four, that's going to be different in that there's some finality to it for me, succeeding Jim Nantz in this role. Jim did it for 33 years, synonymous with the event, and did such an incredible job of keeping the interest and passion for college basketball. The event continues to grow, and I think the fact what you just alluded to with smaller schools that have created chemistry and have senior-laden squads, they can go on a run. So the idea that you're just going to write in the big names into the Final Four, you can't do that anymore.
Ian Eagle is joining us, of course, CBS Sports Turner, Westwood One, the Yes Network, just at the top of the craft. And, Ian, you do a game, and it's one of those sayings, 10 out of 10, no notes. However, my co-host Andrew Perloff always has notes. And he did this to Kevin Kugler a couple years ago when we were at the Final Four. He tried to give Kevin a call. It was Coach K in the Final Four for the last time. And Kevin's calling the game on Westwood, and he goes, you gave him a suggestion.
I actually don't. It
was Coach K, you're okay.
Yes.
And I thought Kevin was going to reach across the table and strangle Perloff. No, he's a nice guy. He would never do that. But not just because, hey, that might get implanted in his brain. I told Perloff, it's a terrible idea. Kevin can do his own lines. Nobody does it better than Ian Eagle, yet you have suggestions for it.
I don't want these to get stuck in your head because they're that good. But can I give you a few suggestions based on which team might win?
And Ian, please be brutally honest with these.
No, I appreciate this. I feel like you're trying to help me. You're not trying to hurt me.
He's not. This is not going to help.
Okay, let's start with Purdue. Zach Edey. Boiler make them a trophy because they are the champions.
Yes, yeah. So I would say that, you're saying?
Okay.
I thought he hung up.
Tennessee. Dalton connect the dots. The Volunteers are champions. I use my 11-year-old daughter as an audience here.
This is the problem. We have an award-winning broadcaster on the phone. You can't give him Dalton connect the dots.
I don't like the Arizona Wildcats. I Caleb love the Arizona Wildcats.
Ian, fire this man.
Okay. While everyone is zigging, they're Gonzagging their way all the way to the championship. Okay, and you can. That's it. You get the gist. If you need dad jokes for the Final Four, I'm your guy. That's all I'm saying.
The Gonzaga one, I think I may have already used.
In that case, we love it. Ian, really, we've talked to you about this before, and Ian Eagle's joining us, of course, CBS Sports, going to be calling the Final Four in the national championship game. He's taking the torch from Jim Nantz in this, right? And we're super excited for you. Your calls are so creative. We've asked you this before. You sat on Ja Morant doing Jawbreaker for like 6 months, you said, maybe more. And it was unleashed in the most brilliant time. you get the rosters, do you start thinking, okay, this is an alliteration, this is something I can do, or do they come to you on the spot?
It's a combo, I would say. I'd say the marination period on some of these can be long, and it can be years upon years, because you got to feel good about actually doing it in the moment, making it fit the moment. And then other things, literally, you look down at your chart, and then you look up, and it hits you. Eureka! There's this epiphany that this could work. All of this is happening in milliseconds. So I think it's been a combo. In all seriousness, because a lot of it is obviously fun and trying to be lighthearted and bring some levity to the broadcast. But for me, it really got to a place where I just started trusting my instincts more than I had in my previous iterations of doing this. Early in the tournament, there was a specific player, the 2000 NCAA tournament. I had Seton Hall, if you might remember that run with Shaheen Holloway, and then he gets injured. They have Ty Shine step in as the point guard, and they pull off an upset in the second round, and they knock off Temple and Pepe Sanchez and that John Chaney coach team. Tommy Amaker was the coach of Seton Hall. And the final 3 minutes of the game, all I could think about was Ty Shine and one shining moment. It just made too much sense to me. And I'm waiting. If they pull off the upset, this could be it. And they did. And I didn't go with it. And to this day, I think back on that. I'm like, well, why didn't I do it? And part of me, this is so many years ago now, you're talking about 24 years ago, literally. I think part of it was, what if people don't like it? Well, what if it gets criticized? And pretty much after that came, I think I said to myself, okay, don't do that anymore. If you feel strong about something, go with it. It's okay. And if it whiffs, that's okay too.
Yeah, that's not just good broadcasting advice. That's just good advice for life. Ian Eagle is here, YOLO, no regrets, and just go with your gut instinct. And he's going to be calling the Final Four and the national championship game. That's a call you regret. Ian, do you have your own personal favorite of your calls, or one that you felt, maybe not a favorite, one you felt like really matched the moment? You're just, you're happy that it turned out as well as it did.
I think recency bias comes into play in situations like this. There were others years ago that were obvious to me. The kid on North Carolina, Wilmington, Brent Blizzard, kept making shots against USC and Sacramento. And, at some point when he's made a 6-3, a blizzard hits the Sacramento area is just too obvious. But I still waited. It wasn't like on the first three-pointer. This past year, obviously the Travis Kelce thing was just hilarious to me in how it caught fire. I got a bunch of texts after the call with Kelce against the Jaguars, and I thought, okay, a few people heard the Taylor Swift reference. I get to the airport, and we're waiting on our flight, and, I'm one to look at entertainment during my downtime, and I go on TMZ, and the thing hits. And I'm looking around. I'm at the gate area. I was like, is anybody else seeing this? This is crossed over. And the fact that I've now made TMZ without getting arrested was a huge accomplishment in my mind. So I thought that one actually hit in ways that I never anticipated. I thought it was more of a throwaway line at the end of a touchdown, but obviously we know too much now, and that's a real thing. That's a real relationship, and the fact that it was so early in its incarnation is pretty wild.
Yeah, you were the first one there, the bad blood reference, right?
Yeah.
And you were the first one there. And honestly, Ian, you making TMZ without getting arrested, if there were odds, DraftKings really would have taken a bath on that one.
Have you talked to Jim Nantz recently about what it means to call the Final Four? I mean, obviously, I've read many times how much respect you have for him. Jim is someone I got to know a little bit over the years, just can't help but love. Pretty big shoes, but I think you'll do great. Does Jim have any advice for you?
I saw him at the Super Bowl. We didn't talk specifically about the Final Four. He's just always been there for me and someone that believed in me when I got the job back in 1998. Jim and Mike Francesa are very close. They go back to their CBS days together. And obviously I worked with Mike at WFAN Radio and worked with him very closely and developed a close friendship. So there's that connection there that we've always had. It's not something that I think that we're going to have long conversations about. He knows the respect that I have for him, for the job that he's done, and he's a legendary figure in this industry. As far as me now stepping into the role, the one thing I just keep reminding myself, guys, is I can't be anybody else. I've just got to do it the way that I've been doing it. I've literally done thousands of basketball games, so you can't say that he won't be prepared for the moment. I've called so many of these events and so many of these games within the NCAA tournament. It's not like I'm jumping into something that is completely foreign to me. It's just that it's the extra weekend, which happens to be the biggest weekend in the sport. But it'll be the same mentality that I have, and I'll do it the way that I've been doing it. To get to this place and then try to change or adjust or alter would be completely irrational and make no sense.
Yeah, to me, Ian, I mean, and you are a voice of a sports generation just like Nance, and to a lot of people, you know, your calls is just as memorable, and you are one of the people who is at the top of the profession. Moving away from the Final Four for a second, just quick one for you. We'll let you go. We know it's a busy time of year. How many intensive boot camps, training, film study would it take for Bill Belichick to become a great television analyst? Because I know he's done some TV, but don't put this guy in a studio if he does television. You got to put him in a booth just like Brady. But how hard would it be to turn Bill Belichick into a good color analyst?
I don't think it would be that hard. His knowledge level is obviously beyond the norm. He's about as deep a thinker as I've been around when I do these production meetings. If you get into a topic with him, he could go for 20 minutes. If it's something that's interesting to him, something that he likes, something that he has a historic connection to. So the idea, I know the perception is, he just wouldn't talk enough. He wouldn't know when to come in and what. No, he would know all of those things and then some. The issue is really what he wants to do down the road, and I think he still wants to coach. So I think my sense would be if he does something connected to the industry, which it sounds like he's going to do, it would be on his terms and it would be tailored for the things he wants to talk about in a given week, and not necessarily stepping into a studio setting where, you know, you've got to squeeze in your comments in an 11-second window to make sure that you get to the next sponsored element. I don't think that's what he's looking to do, and I'm not even sure that the networks are necessarily looking for him to do that. It's going to be something very specialized and something that really fits his approach and his philosophy on football, because if you do it right, you're going to get gold from the man.
A lot of people say he's sneaky funny. I've heard coaches and players say that. Is that true?
He is. Yes, very much so. He's got a sarcastic side. He likes the back and forth. He's got a great laugh. I know that might be a shocker to everybody. He likes to laugh, and if something is funny, he'll respond to it. So there's a lot to him that people don't know, because I think he got to a place where he limited that part of his personality because he just wanted to focus on the football and do it his way. And you start winning, you can start to call the shots. And he won a whole lot, so he called a whole lot of shots.
Well, just remember, if Gonzaga cuts down the nets, you can just repurpose your call, Ian, that Perloff subconsciously stole from you and then try to sell back to you. Good zigzagging all the way. Is that what it was?
No, don't connect the dots is gold. Ian, you have to.
Look, just as an example, that I'm not above any of this, when West Virginia played Wake Forest in the second round, it ended up being Chris Paul's last game as a collegiate player. West Virginia pulls off the upset. Wake Forest was seeded number 2. They win in double overtime in Cleveland. I believe it was 05. And my final call, as they got a shot of John Beeline, the head coach at West Virginia, is that the Mountaineers are making a beeline into the Sweet 16. None of this is beneath me by any stretch.
Listen, sometimes you got to take the layup. No pun intended. You know,
Perloff's daughter wasn't even in the world at that point, and she would have liked the line.
Honestly, it's great. We're such big fans. I mean, my personal fave, Tyler Bass splits the uprights, and Ian goes, "That's some terrific bass." It was amazing. You never cease to amaze us, and it's super entertaining. Thanks so much for doing this again. We know it's busy, and have a great tournament.
I hope Lorraine Newman is listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ian Eagle.
Oh, boy.
CBS Sports, Turner, Westwood One, the Yes Network doing Nets games. Ian is, again, he's the voice, right, of a generation of sports.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's the best. I did hold a couple back. Can I give him now?
Oh, boy. Are we sure he's gone?
Are we sure he's off?
Okay.
He's gone.
All right. I don't want him to get upset.
Iowa State's top 10. Hide in the basement. The Cyclones are coming. I don't even know. Do you go in a basement when a Cyclone's coming? I assume so. This is an intellectual one. Hurly Burly. Not only is it an award-winning play by David Rabb, it's a way to describe the coach of the repeat champion UConn Huskies.
Rolls
Anybody?
off the tongue.
Hurly Burly?
Yeah.
So succinct.
I'm still stuck on going in the basement during a cyclone.
Oh, you want me to just go with UConn do it? I mean, that's ridiculous.
There we go. Now we're talking.
And I didn't give him Houston. We don't have a problem. We have a championship. Yes.
The problem with that one is Noah had that line kind of like that in the playoff game.
Everybody's had it. We don't have a problem. I'm not sure I've heard that because it's so dumb. Did a real announcer actually say that?
I think he said no problem here or something like that. He had some variation of Houston, we have a problem, as they were kicking the Browns' butt.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Boiler make them a trophy. No.
That one was, I was like, that was the leadoff one too.
Yeah. That was my strongest.
Coming in hot. I was like, what?
Coming in cold.
Also, think about it. It's like making the trophy. It's like you win the trophy.
Well, you got to make it, right? At some point. I don't know.
So we're talking about some factory in China somewhere.
Well, like the
that's churning out
Stanley
these
Cup,
trophies?
don't they etch the names on there? I don't know. I think Dalton connect the dots. That one has legs. That is going to be uttered by somebody at some point this month. Tennessee Star.
You. Say it again. Trying to convince us that's good.
That's not so bad,
I
bogus.
like that one.
means, by the way, just made my weekend.
What did you say?
Dalton connect the dots is a good one.
You can Dalton.
That plays.
I think it's connects obviously something else, not the dots.
The dots to what?
The dots, to what?
Oh, because they're all logical, all of these lines?
Well, if NBA's
He was
might
giving
have
me the Iron Eagle. I'm giving him a high bar.
I'll give you a good one. If they ever have a 4-point shot in the NBA, Dalton Connect's going to be a high draft pick. Connect 4. Boom.
Oh, gosh.
These are winners. I would stop mentioning the other ones, especially the Hurly Burly one. Stick on Dalton Connect. He's your muse.
The Hurly Burly one wasn't a winner. It took 50 seconds for him to get it
more
out.
like an ode.
That's why I didn't say that to Ian. I would just do UConn do it. Awful.
That also just
Awful.
it makes you sound like you're forgetting how to speak the English language.
Right.
Hurly Burly. Not only is it an award-winning play by David Robb, it's a way to describe the coach of the repeat champion.
You're already in commercial
UConn
break.
Huskies.
Oh, we know.
The confetti's already down. It's gone. They're on the bus.
I don't like the Arizona Wildcats. Caleb loved the Arizona Wildcats. See, Bogus is there this first time around.
You guys are both dads. Dad
You not take this
humor.
man to San Antonio. He's the only one amused by all this.
You sold that one really well.
Bogus wearing a Lucky Charms shirt. He'll have at anything today. 4 Guinnesses in. I'm just kidding. No, you would never do that.
Not
By the way, we did top 5 last segment, top 5 moments of the week. How come we didn't put when we figured out what a Boilermaker was? That it's actually somebody who makes a boiler. This is all going to be a big deal this March. You guys got to get your mind into the tournament.
Well, I thought it was that we didn't know what the logo looked like.
No, we still don't.
We still don't. I still think it looks like a train.
It's a train.
It's definitely a train, right?
100%
But
a train.
why?
Because
I don't know.
I think the train runs on steam from the boiler that they made at Purdue.
That's also Bogus's final call.
They made those at Purdue? Is that why?
Not all of them. They don't have a monopoly on trains.
Why were they at a higher university of learning making boilers for
your
trains?
Chucky questions.
Every boiler in America is made at Purdue.
Hide in the basement. The Cyclones are coming. I don't know. Do you need some help with your Fordham basketball calls? Because I can write some
thanks for
lines.
bringing that up. They don't have any more games left, you jerk.
He was waiting. He was waiting until the season ended. He could
And
ask you
Bogus
this
definitely
anytime.
posted a social media post about how the season's over now.
Thanks for listening.
Okay, so you still need help?
Yeah.
We took over in October, right?
Fordham didn't advance? You mean scoring 47 points a game? Oh, come on.
Look how mean Perloff is.
Ouch.
Yeah. Welcome aboard. It's not new.
It's like Bogusch is out there calling the plays. He didn't do horns down or whatever.
I don't understand. Perloff wants me to disown the Jets because some loser came over as a quarterback and wants to be a vice president. And now somehow that's my fault and that's my burden.
Loser.
And then he wants Bogusch to disown his own alma mater.
Disowning the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers is not a bad idea. Of all the ideas I've had for the show.
I'll let you, Perloff. We're not going to just jump off the bandwagon.
You got to admit, it has to be kind of getting into your head a little bit. I mean, the more we hear about Aaron Rodgers.
I think he wants to disown Aaron Rodgers, not the Jets. He wants Aaron Rodgers to disown the Jets.
Telling you to disown the Jets is the best piece of advice I can give a young person on earth right now. That is, of all the things I've said today, this week, that one is fine.
Honestly,
that actually makes sense.
You're like doing Teach for America. You're mentoring today's youth.
You know how Rex Chapman was on the show and had advice for young people to seek help? EJ is a Jets fan. It's time to seek help.
This is your intervention.
Thank you.
Bogusch's headlines.
Yeah, I'll be quick, and let's go right back to Perloff. I believe I heard him say before he wants to bet on NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Clearly not learning his Wemby lesson, as our friend Victor remains on target to be NBA Rookie of the Year and then have a nerdy, limping radio host on his front lawn. He is also under consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. Rudy Gobert is likely to win it, but maybe for the last time.
C'est sûr que ça m'intéresse. C'est quelque chose que je veux gagner dans le futur.
Right.
Et mais bon, je sais que Rudy a de très grosses chances de le gagner cette année et ce serait mérité. Et qu'il le gagne maintenant parce qu'après c'est plus son tour.
Fingers crossed that Google Translate's correct. That's Wemby saying yesterday, I know that Rudy has a very good chance of winning it this year, and it would be deserved. Let him win it now, because after that, it's no longer his turn.
Wow, you've never played a French highlight.
That was the first time. Hopefully it worked.
Man, that was kind of putting it out there. I like Wemby.
Yeah.
Me too.
He's not afraid to just say it.
That's also his guy, though. Does that take a little sting out of it? Like, Rudy Gobert is like his mentor almost.
Do you remember when the pre-draft process when he said if Scoot Henderson wasn't born, or if I wasn't born, maybe Scoot Henderson could be the number one overall pick? I was like, hot damn.
Yeah.
Why does Rudy Gobert always get Defensive Player of the Year when you can kill him and pick and roll? They even have to take him off the court.
Well,
Don't understand.
There's a Hall of Famer who agrees with everything you just said.
Yeah, it's weird. And
Do you know
Wemby
who the Hall
might
of
have the
Fame is,
same
by the way?
problem.
Isaiah?
No, Shaq.
Yeah.
On the podcast,
it's a weird one. Yeah, and Wemby, same problem. Like, can he cover somebody on the perimeter? Probably. He's so damn fast. I hate that guy.
He's also 9 years old. Like, Gobert's a finished product.
I read a story the other day. Wemby has defied the rookie wall. I'm like, great.
Make sure to write that in your apology letter.
Think about that when you're somewhere near Knoxville driving through on your way to San Antonio.
Chet Holmgren doesn't even really have the rookie wall. He's a second-year player, and he's just getting farther and farther.
It'd be funny if you did, when you have to drive to San Antonio eventually, because you will lose the bet that Wemby will not win, that he will win Rookie of the Year. You have to go to San Antonio and apologize to him. You should do like Rosetta Stone and learn French on the way.
Oh, I took 1 year of high school French. Je suis désolé, Victor Wembanyama. I don't know what the end of that
accent.
I don't know. I sort of got British there by the end, or I don't know what that was. It really was not French.
Apologies to our French audience.
The only thing maybe you have left to stop Wemby is the Rick Pitino plan, or excuse me, is that his name? It is, the St. John's head coach.
He coaches basketball.
Yeah, he's facing UConn today, was asked yesterday, how do you beat these second-ranked Huskies?
We got to have about 6 of their players get COVID.
Can we make COVID jokes now? Is
He
that
said
safe?
that?
Yeah, he did.
And Pitino is just old and doesn't give a you-know-what.
Right.
He called out his players, said they had no lateral movement.
Now, that worked. Because I think they only lost once since then.
I know, and I kind of hate that it did, because now it's like an ends justify the means. So now he can just say the meanest stuff ever to his players, call them out, and everyone's like, he's a genius. It's like, I don't know, man.
He is like a very confounding figure because he says ridiculous things like that. But then I'm watching him do the post game with Jim Calhoun, and Calhoun's giving them very, very insider basketball questions, and he's giving genius-like answers. I'm like, how old is this guy? Like, he's such a great basketball mind, but then
Can't have it all.
COVID joke for a semifinal game.
5:30 Eastern, MSG, St. John's, UConn. See who's healthy enough to play.
Get your tickets.
Yeah.
You heading over there?
No.
I was there last
That's
week.
too many Guinnesses by then.
You crawling over there? You might end
Headed
up
to the
there.
bar.
Like, where am I?
Yeah, I might be an accident.
I meant to hit the train, and all of a sudden I'm watching UConn.
Down the block at Stout.
Yeah. Maybe I can ref that game.
Just in that shirt.
You go to the Garden and be like, hey, you know my friend Maggie Perloff? He was sitting courtside. Hey, can I just come in?
Yeah, do not say my name.
I know Dr. Rock Positano. Come on.
Like, I am Dr. Rock Positano.
Coming in a white lab, coming in a white lab coat.
With like a stethoscope. Just came from the office.
EJ, you better not laugh or you're not getting more invites.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that just silenced EJ.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bogusch.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Coming up, we've got to do this. The scam story that I have not gotten to. Can we get to this? There's a new scam out there that people are doing, and it is diabolical. You've got to be on the lookout for this. I know this is a sports show, but we've got to do a public service announcement. We'll do that next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, morning CBS Sports Radio. And not only do we do sports around here and have a couple chuckles, I feel like now I've gotten very obsessed with scams. Online scams, in-person scams, because I feel like I'm having to fend off these scams at all times, Perloff. This is just like living in America now. It just feels like you're being inundated with phishing scams, and they're always trying to get your bank accounts and all that stuff.
I relate so much, and I feel like I'm not up to the task. I feel like I'm going to get got soon.
Oh, me too. It's just like a matter of time. It's not going to be if, it's going to be when. And I hope that it's not something totally egregious where I like wipe out my family's entire nest egg because I think the CIA is at the door or something, whatever. So here's a new one. Saw this one from NBC News, and it was happening in the Atlanta area, a suburb of Atlanta. A very popular place to go out. Men were reporting, and this is like 10 to 12 men reported that they felt like they were drugged, like given something in their drink that made them like woozy or not be able to remember, and that someone took their phone while they were compromised and used their face, their own face on their own phone as facial recognition to get into their phone, you know, like unlock your iPhone, and get into your banking apps and your other apps because some of them need just their face, and drain their bank accounts. Now, as if that wasn't bad enough, then these alleged perpetrators, they think, were targeting multiple people on the same night and then switching those people's phones and bank cards to throw it off the scent. So if you woke up and you're like, my bank account's done, you would immediately call everyone and you would cancel everything. They were waking up confused. Why do I have a different phone? Why do I have different people's bank cards? Like, this confusion kind of stopped them a little in their tracks and made it one extra layer of an obstacle. This is crazy. That is crazy. People should go to jail for a long, long time if they're doing something like that.
Yeah, I have heard stories using the facial recognition of a person you just killed to drain their accounts. That's even worse, probably.
Well, yeah, you've already got major problems on your hands.
Yeah.
Dead
well,
body.
actually, you don't because you're dead. But no, this is
for the person who did it.
This is crazy. Basically, luckily, I have very little money in my bank account, so maybe they could pay some of my bills when they get in there. But I've heard. My phone, I feel like to get into anything now, I have to do double authentication. You guys have that? So if I sign into my email here, I have to have my phone with me. So there are layers. Is that enough?
I just don't. Yes, probably, but I don't think so. This is the other part of it, and I think a lot of people in America or listening to the sound of my voice can agree with this. Why does every place need all my information? I took my kid to a trampoline park the other day. Why do you need my address? Why do you need my phone number? And why can I not sign this waiver for my kid to go jump on this thing without me agreeing to all these terms?
Well, that's a trampoline park. That is like a Civil War documentary. 15 minutes in, every kid there is on the ground. You have a 70% chance of breaking a limb. That one I understand, Maggie.
I know, but just because my kid wants to go there and jump, I don't have to sign a waiver that promises I'll receive promotional material from now until the apocalypse comes.
That's one thing, but can you go to a place where you aren't guaranteed to break a limb, like the trampoline place? I get it.
Like, who's going to get hacked? Probably Sky Zone.
I gave my social security number out the other day. And
the whirlpool guy?
Yeah. I mean, this guy was
This guy was on the corner.
he was a prince, to be fair.
He was promising you the keys to the kingdom.
No, I got a letter from a bank saying, thank you for changing your email. So I called the bank. I'm like, what, did you change the email? They're like, give me your social security number. I'm like, is this really the bank? I thought I was being scammed.
And the bank was called Scams Are Us.
Yes.
They have a branch right here down the road.
The bank said, yes, we're the real bank.
Now, next question, can I borrow some money to get home on the subway?
And now we're gonna need to farm out some social security numbers somehow. Thank you, EJ Stewart, and to Pete Pilati, and to Andrew Bogusch, and to Andrew Kaplan, and to Rex Chapman, and to Ian Eagle and the Weedos.